This film is purely fictional. Please do not imitate it. Your like and subscribe are the motivation for me to update. Chapter 403. Lu Yuanqiu pushed Zhong Jincheng's head away expressionlessly. He shouldn't have asked this unnecessary question. When this guy is interested in a woman, the answer is almost obvious. He is attracted to the other person's breasts or buttocks. At the very least, it has to be the white legs that are often exposed. If Zhong Jincheng is interested in a woman with a figure that is not outstanding one day, then he is really in love. Bai Qingxia came over with a bowl of cooked noodles. As soon as she raised her head and looked forward, she suddenly stopped. It was strange. She was not that familiar with Long Liandong. They only spoke once from beginning to end, but she could still recognize him quickly by his back. She turned her eyes away from Long Liandong's back and looked at Lu Yuanqiu. When she found that the person Lu Yuanqiu was looking at was also her, she felt a little calmer. But she still wondered why Long Liandong came to Lu Yuanqiu. Your noodles. Putting the noodles gently in front of Lu Yuanqiu, Bai Qingxia stood there for a moment, not wanting to leave at this time, so she looked up and asked Zhong Jincheng, You want to eat? Zhong Jincheng silently glanced at the two bowls of noodles he had just finished eating next to him. At this moment, the two bowls of noodles were still stacked together. Mr. Bai, if you want to make money, you can't just pick on me and make money, right? I've already eaten 2 bowls. Zhong Jincheng said in a daze, and suddenly he laughed again, but another bowl is fine, he. Bai Qingxia said oh, and was about to turn around and leave. Long Liandong turned around and said, Please give us 2 servings of noodles. Bai Qingxia then noticed that there was another person sitting next to Long Liandong. Just here to eat noodles? Why did she sit with Lu Yuanqiu? The girl muttered in her heart and returned to the store. Lu Yuanqiu didn't know why the 2 people opposite him wanted to share the table with him. There was no topic to talk about, so they talked about their own things. He picked up the chopsticks and ate the noodles normally, while Zhong Jincheng looked at the gap in Daidan's collar vaguely. Daidan, I heard that you are going to shoot a new promotional video at Shuda University. Dong, you should be the heroine, right? Long Liandong replied in a daze, I don't know about this. Shouldn't promotional videos be shot by seniors? Daidan seemed to feel that it was hot in the restaurant. She reached out and pulled her collar. The dark black lace underwear was looming under the collar. This scene made Zhong Jincheng's head big. She smiled and replied, It's not certain. The school can choose whoever it wants. I heard from your grandfather that you don't plan to enter the entertainment industry. Then I will interview you. If you are asked to be the heroine, will you still act? Zhong Jincheng asked with shaking legs. Why do we still need to act? Aren't the promotional videos just about a man and a woman wearing uniforms standing in the school taking pictures of the scenery? Daidan looked at him. You mean high school, right? The enrollment requirements of universities are definitely different from those of high schools. Besides, Shuda has money. This promotional video is about a day of campus life for a college couple. The man and woman mainly play a young couple. The school leader mentioned it to me yesterday, and asked me if I knew which director would have free time later. Are all the college admissions so competitive in 2011? Lu Yuanqiu complained in his heart. Zhong Jincheng held the cup expectantly. Are there any kissing scenes? That's hard to say. Daidan's expression became gossipy, and her eyes were still glancing at Long Liandong, as if she thought that Long Liandong would definitely be chosen by the school as the heroine of the promotional video, and the male protagonist would be lucky. Long Liandong glanced at Lu Yuanqiu inconspicuously, and responded in a light tone, This kind of situation is usually misplaced. Daidan, if we find a real couple, there's no need to shoot them out of place. Dongding, hurry up and find a boyfriend. Don't you have a boyfriend you like? Bang! A bowl of noodles was placed in front of Daidan. Bai Qingxia said, 6 yuan? Daidan looked up and saw that it was the part-time female student. Bai Qingxia gave Long Liandong's bowl with an indifferent expression and turned away. But speaking of it, the female students at Juda are really pretty now, better looking than many newcomers in the entertainment industry. Daidan took off her mask and said with emotion. Zhong Jincheng complained, It's possible, senior sister, all the good-looking people are right next to you today. Haha, is that true? Daidan smiled at him casually, without any celebrity airs. Lu Yuanqiu looked up and saw that Zhong Jincheng's noodles were also brought over by Bai Qingxia, so he turned his head and urged him, Eat quickly, and go back to rehearse for the last time after eating. Long Liandong was eating noodles. After hearing Lu Yuanqiu's words, she looked up and hesitated for a moment, and said to Lu Yuanqiu, I wish you success. After saying that, she gathered her hair around her ears and continued to eat noodles. Long Liandong opened her mouth very small, and ate noodles one by one. She looked extremely elegant while eating, and there was no sign of pretense at all. Every movement seemed to be engraved in her bones. Lu Yuanqiu smiled and responded, "Okay, thank you." Long Liandong said softly, "Yeah." So she also saw the flyer. At this time, there was a movement next to him. Lu Yuanqiu looked up and saw Bai Qingxia standing next to him with a portion of noodles. "Make way." Bai Qingxia spoke to Lu Yuanqiu in a light tone. Lu Yuanqiu leaned back, and Bai Qingxia reached out and placed the noodles on Zhong Jinqing's table. Delicious. This noodles are really delicious." Dai Yidan next to him exclaimed loudly at an inappropriate time, and the 4 people around looked at her. The next day, October 15th. It was 4 o'clock in the afternoon, less than 3 hours before the welcome party. A silver-gray truck with a sealed compartment drove to the east gate of Juda University. The guard looked up, smiled warmly, and greeted the truck driver, then opened the school gate to let him pass. About 5 minutes later, 2 leaders of the dance club came to the east gate in a hurry. They stood by the roadside, anxiously waiting for a taxi. One of the girls put her hands on her hips, and couldn't help turning her head and asking, "Why did you tell us now that Senior Shirling had sprained her ankle?" Another girl responded, "She said she should be fine, and asked us to go to the hospital to pick her up first. She still needs someone to pick her up. Can she really dance later? She said she was fine." "Forget it, let's go check it out first." "Why are there no cars?" Here I come." A green taxi came from a distance, and stopped at the entrance of the east gate. The door opened and a girl with red hair and a short skirt got out. The 2 female managers did not make much eye contact with the red-haired girl. They hurriedly got in the car and said to the driver, "Number 1 Municipal Hospital." The driver was immediately happy. He had just finished an order and immediately received another business. After the taxi drove away, the red-haired girl stood at the school gate and looked around. It is indeed the largest campus. The school gate is much more impressive than ours. Chapter 404. She walked into the school gate and took out her phone to send a message to the lead singer group. "Pink Lady Band lead singer. I came to Wanfeng campus to watch the fun. Are there any juniors from Wanfeng campus who are kind enough to take me around? Blue Sky Band lead singer. Senior sister, are you here? Come to see the fun on the playground? Pink Lady Band lead singer. Yes, but it seems to be too early now. Blue Sky Band lead singer. I am going too. I will come to find you. I will take you around our campus first, and then we will go to the playground to watch the fun. I can't wait to see what they can do. Covering mouth and laughing Pink Lady Band lead singer. Okay. For Joy Meatballs Band lead singer. Can you record a video? Let us all enjoy it. Blue Sky Band lead singer. No problem. Sly Smile Singles Band lead singer. That's great. I'm so envious. I'm envious of the 8 bands from the 4 campuses who are about to perform on stage. They are probably preparing backstage now, right? They probably don't have time to check the group. Jingwei Band lead singer. People are already backstage. I didn't expect to perform so many times. I'm quite nervous. I just took a look. There are so many school leaders. The principal is also in our Wanfeng campus auditorium this time. Hot Wheels Band lead singer. I heard Dai Yidan went to your Wanfeng campus to give a speech. Qinghe Band lead singer. Wanfeng campus is really lively today. There are not only many heavyweight guests in the auditorium, but also performances on the playground. Blue Sky Band lead singer. Performances on the playground? Don't make me laugh, buddy. As a member of the same campus, I really think this is embarrassing. If his video is uploaded to the internet later, you must help prove it. We do not recognize that Yanggu String Band belongs to our Wanfeng campus. Hot Wheels Band lead singer. Are you a little too critical of your junior? Ha ha ha. Blue Sky Band lead singer. That's too critical. Sorry, it's embarrassing, but I won't talk about it for now. We are all in the same campus. What if the principal gets angry and starts to sanction the campus band category? Whose fault is it if he doesn't get scolded to death after today, and instead surpasses Yulua Band to become the most popular campus band in 2012? I, Luo Ping, will not take the innovation credits. I won't graduate. Singles Band lead singer. Calm down. We definitely support you. You are also an old member of the group. There is no need to get angry with these brainless newcomers. Blue Sky Band lead singer. I will borrow a camera today to record the video on site, and post it online tomorrow. Senior sister, please wait for me at the east gate. Pink Lady Band lead singer. Okay. The red-haired girl put down her phone. She didn't expect the Blue Sky Band's lead singer to be so angry, and she was a little hesitant about whether to meet him. After all, She just came to watch the fun today. In fact, even if she takes a step back, she thinks the juniors in Yanggu's string band are quite courageous. And during the welcome party, not everyone has to go to the auditorium. What's wrong with a band performing on the playground at this time? The principal can't be so narrow-minded as to get angry about such a thing, right? Besides, this is a university, not a high school. Shouldn't the 4 words dare to do and dare to fight be more suitable for college students than follow the rules? They are also working hard for popularity. In the F seat of the female dormitory, Lu Doqing looked down at the time on her watch. She changed into a black and white plaid skirt first, and then faced the mirror, hesitating whether to braid her hair or let it loose. After struggling for 5 minutes, she finally braided her hair into 2 braids. She remembered that her brother seemed to praise her for her good braids. Today, she was going to support her brother's performance, so she should dress up in a way that her brother thought was good-looking. The dormitory building seemed a little deserted. After all, today was Saturday, and the school was holding a welcome party. Her 3 roommates were already on their way to the auditorium. Lu Doqing had shared the flyer with them, but the 3 roommates ignored her and made fun of her, especially the roommate who had a conflict with Lu Wei, whose laughter was the most unpleasant. This made Lu Doqing feel that Lu Wei's act of pretending to be a ghost to scare people might be right. The only problem was that she should not scare innocent and timid people again. She still dares not go to the toilet in the middle of the night. After packing up, Lu Doqing closed the door of the dormitory and prepared to go downstairs. Suddenly, she saw a familiar figure at the stairs. It was Lu Wei, who was also about to go downstairs. Lu Doqing was surprised to find that Lu Wei had put on makeup today and was wearing a pretty dress. "Are you going to the auditorium?" Lu Doqing asked with a cute smile. Lu Wei shook her head. "No, I'm going to the playground." At dusk, the campus was unusually lively. Many college students were wearing casual clothes and walking towards the auditorium. "I heard that there were many wonderful programs in the auditorium today, and a star was also here." Shuda has always attached great importance to the holding of such official activities, so every scene is very grand, and this is also the place that students trust the most. However, among the people heading to the auditorium, some of them went straight to the playground. There were not many of them. Most of them were students who had posted in the Yangguxian bar and were waiting to see the excitement today. Lu Doqing and Lu Wei walked in this small group of people. Lu Wei looked down at her watch and found that it was almost 7 o'clock, but there was no sign of the band on the playground. Is he lying to me? Lu Wei couldn't help thinking in her heart, but she quickly shook her head. It's not a lie. She also saw the flyer. But if it's almost 7 o'clock and they haven't shown up yet, does it mean that they've failed? Did Qiuqiu ask you to come and see? Lu Doqing asked curiously, standing on tiptoe. Lu Wei turned her head to look at the girl next to her. She knew that Lu Doqing obviously didn't care whether the band was there at the moment, because this guy especially trusted his brother. If Lu Yuanqiu said he would perform here today, Lu Doqing would wait here until the other party showed up, even if it was until midnight, and her head was stupid. But Lu Wei and Zhong Jincheng had no relationship or story. She just politely accepted his invitation. Lu Wei saw 3 of Zhong Jincheng's classmates passing by, an old man, a boy with long hair, and a guy as thin as a monkey. However, these 3 people seemed to be wondering where the band was. There were already dozens of spectators on the playground, and with the people who were already strolling there were nearly 100 people gathered together waiting for the band to appear. A girl with dyed red hair and a boy with a camera also walked into the playground. Seeing that there was no band on the playground, the boy with the camera laughed loudly. "No way, you distributed flyers with great fanfare, but when the time came, you became a coward." Hearing what this person said, Lu Doqing and Lu Wei couldn't help but frown. Thinking of the scene when the boy who always talked about driving sent her a message in a very formal way for the first time, the invitation did not contain any dirty words, but was full of sincerity. Lu Wei's throat moved, and she turned her head to Lu Doqing and said, "Let's go in and wait." "Okay." Lu Doqing agreed happily. After the 2 of them entered the playground, 2 people suddenly ran over from a distance. Bucktooth Chong and Su Miaomio came to the big iron gate at the entrance of the playground. They pulled out the iron rod stuck in the ground and opened the playground gate. Bucktooth Chong said with a painful mask, "I really admire you, junior sister. Why didn't you discuss it with me in advance?" Su Miaomio's face was calm and resolute. "It's too late, senior brother, trust me, it's okay." Chapter 405. Backstage at the auditorium of Huafeng campus. Bai Qingxiao was wearing a brand new ballet costume. She stood in front of the mirror and stared at herself in the mirror. So beautiful. The costumes were obviously similar, but when she put them on, she looked like two completely different people. Her heart was beating fast, but she was not worried about herself, but about Lu Yuanqiu. She hoped that Lu Yuanqiu would succeed. At this moment, she was more thinking about finishing her program quickly, and then rushing to the playground to accompany Lu Yuanqiu without taking off her costume. In the back, the other girls in ballet costumes were nervously and anxiously recalling the movements they memorized during rehearsal. Only Shirling was sitting alone on a chair, staring blankly at the back of the freshman girl in front of her. She seemed to be struggling with something. Shirling also changed into her ballet costume. She was definitely the most eye-catching person in the crowd in a white costume with golden hair. She was also very skilled in dancing, and could fully shoulder the responsibility of being the center. But she was worried about a problem at the moment, a surprise that surprised herself. Shirling looked down at her right ankle wrapped in white silk. The swelling there had subsided, but it still hurt when she exerted force. Just now, she walked out of the backstage preparation room and looked at the audience. There were many school leaders in the front row, and there were also many cameras in the back row. Even the most powerful one was present today. It was obvious that the respectable gentleman was very concerned about the welcome party of Wafeng campus. Can't make mistakes, otherwise it may have an adverse effect on me. In this case, all explanations are pale. Once something happens, it is the fact. Thinking of this, Shirling raised his head and looked at the graceful and beautiful figure standing in front of the mirror. She stood up, and her right foot didn't dare to move forward. Her body was a little crooked because of the pain in her right foot. "Bai Qingxia," Shirling said. The girl in front of the mirror heard the voice, turned around quickly, and bowed her head humbly. "Senior Shirling." Shirling actually had a good impression of this freshman girl. She would lower her head every time she spoke. Regardless of whether she was socially anxious or modest, at least her appearance was not annoying. On the contrary, Shirling admired some of Bai Qingxia's qualities, such as her dancing talent, her memory, her face. "Bai Qingxia." Shirling called her name again, and then said in a serious voice, "Do you have confidence in being the center this time? You should remember how to perform in the center position, right?" Bai Qingxia raised her head in surprise. She first glanced at Shirling, then looked at the clock behind her. Their Swan Lake was the first opening program, and there were only 10 minutes left before the evening party started at 7 o'clock. The other girls in the preparation room looked over one after another. Their expressions were very surprised. Shirling frowned. "Answer me." Bai Qingxia nodded. I remember, but..." Shirling interrupted. "No buts, just remember, you will be the center position in the performance later." After she finished speaking, she turned around and shouted in the direction in front of her, "I will stand in the last row, next to Xiuya, during the performance, and the rest of you will move forward one by one. Everyone should cooperate with Bai Xuemei this time. She will be the red flower, and we will be the green leaves. In this kind of performance, 80 to 90% of the attention will be focused on her. She can't make any mistakes. I believe in her, and I hope you can choose to trust her in every minute and every second of the next." Everyone was silent. Shirling frowned helplessly. His lips were a little pale. "Speak." "Okay. Got it, senior sister. Got it." Bai Qingxia stood behind Shirling, and her heartbeat accelerated for the first time today because of herself. After Shirling dispersed the crowd, she found a chair to sit down, relieved her mood for a moment. Bai Qingxia took out her mobile phone from her bag, and then found the chat interface with Lu Yuanqiu. Just two white fingers floated on the keyboard for a moment. Bai Qingxia still didn't intend to say these things to affect Lu Yuanqiu's performance. Lu Yuanqiu might be distracted. He was doing something very important and couldn't be disturbed. But she still wanted to talk to Lu Yuanqiu at this time, even if it was just a casual message. "Bai Qingxia, have you started?" Lu Yuanqiu replied very quickly. Lu Yuanqiu, "Almost there, very soon." Bai Qingxia, "I'm a little nervous." Lu Yuanqiu, "Me too." Bai Qingxia, "I'm kidding, I'm not nervous." Smile Lu Yuanqiu, "I'm kidding too." Grinning Bai Qingxia, "Lu Yuanqiu, you have to work hard. We all have to perform well and strive to graduate together." Lu Yuanqiu, "I will, and I hope you will too." Bai Qingxia, "Yes." The clock pointed to 7 o'clock. Lu Yuanqiu was in a pitch-black space. He looked at the group messages on his phone, and the clown was still dancing. "Blue Sky Band lead singer. I borrowed the camera for nothing, damn. This guy is a coward. The time is up, and there is no trace of the band." For Joy Meatball's band lead singer, it's really hard to comment. Ha ha ha. This wave of ugliness is really big. Blue Sky Band lead singer, but I really admire him. This guy is really good at publicity. Now there are about 200 people standing on the playground, waiting for him, and some people have already started to scold him, saying that he is a liar. Pink Lady Band lead singer, I didn't expect this. Wait a little longer, I go back if you don't come. Lu Yuanqiu's body was shaking, and he felt like vomiting. Zhong Jincheng's voice came from the side. Are you there yet? Damn, I'm dying of heat. Finger, Mr. Liang, can't you just order shorts? Why do you have to order dungarees? Liang Jingfeng's weak voice sounded. White short-sleeved shirt, blue dungarees, pretty cute. You don't have no money, do you? Another voice came from the darkness. It was Zhang Yifeng who was speaking. Liang Jingfeng was furious. Bullshit. Overalls are really cute. Lu Yuanqiu said with a smile, and suddenly he slammed again, raised his hand and said, Don't talk, I think I heard a scream. The phone vibrated, and Lu Yuanqiu looked down. Blue Sky Band lead singer. Damn, this kid is playing so big. Singles band lead singer. What's wrong? Lu Yuanqiu raised the corner of his mouth, put the phone into the pocket of his overalls, and then stood up and said, Prepare sunglasses, you can wear them. Zhong Jincheng put on his sunglasses in the dark and smiled. Hey, I think I heard the exclamation too. Finger was extremely excited. Brothers, the unbridled youth has begun. Buzz. A silver-gray truck drove into the playground and stopped in front of the crowd of about 200 people. The students watching widened their eyes. After the truck stopped in the middle of the playground, the door of the passenger seat opened, and Chao Shuang, wearing a white short-sleeved shirt, blue overalls, and sunglasses on his face, jumped out of the car. He walked to the back of the car with a very cold look and raised his hand to pat the iron sheet. Pa! Clang! The partitions on all four sides of the truck compartment fell down one after another. Everyone in the Yangdu string band wore sunglasses, white short-sleeved shirts, and blue overalls. The five of them, each holding an instrument, appeared inside the truck compartment in an absolutely stunning way. Luo Wei was stunned when she saw Zhong Jincheng standing in the middle holding a bass, and soon a surprised smile appeared on her face. The five people were clearly posing still, but Zhong Jincheng couldn't help but make a scissors gesture to Luo Wei. Long Liandong stood outside the crowd, also with a smile on her face. She knew that Lu Yuanqiu would never back down, because a boy who could dunk a backboard would definitely shine again in another way in college. When Liang Jingfeng waved his arms, and the drum sounded above the truck, everyone screamed loudly as if they had just reacted. Lu Yuanqiu held the microphone and sang their first song of the day with a beautiful, firm, and youthful voice. When I am different from the world, then let me be different. Chapter 406. Hot Wheels Band lead singer. Hey, what are you doing? Why aren't you talking? What do you mean by making such a big deal? What on earth did Yang Guxian do? Qinghe Band lead singer. They are good at keeping secrets. They are so anxious when they can't see me. Singles band lead singer. I remember there are 25 bands in the group at Wanfeng campus. Aren't you curious about what's happening on the playground? Wagwang band lead singer. I go right away. I'm at Wanfeng and getting out of bed. Pink Lady Band lead singer. Because the scene was so exciting, so the juniors from Blue Sky Band stopped talking, ha. Blue Sky Band lead singer. Are they really freshmen? How can they be so brave? For Joy Meatball Band lead singer. Brother, don't just talk. Can you take a picture? More and more students ran towards the truck in the middle of the playground, and everyone ran with zombie-like desire and passion, afraid of missing something. If you use the perspective of a drone, the picture below is definitely a movie-level scene. Brother, hurry up. Su Miaomi regretted wearing high heels today. She followed the scattered crowd and rushed to the truck, trying to occupy a good position, while turning back to shout to Chong with buck teeth. Chong with buck teeth covered his stomach and panted in the back. Junior sister, wait for me, I got a stitch in the side. Su Miaomiao had no choice but to turn back and support Chong with buck teeth. She looked up and looked ahead as she walked, as if she had seen Zheng Yifeng shining above the carriage. Looking at the students running around, Su Miaomiao felt happy for Zheng Yifeng, but also felt empty. She could only urge the buck-toothed man next to her, hurry up. Chao Shuang threw 2 neon lights onto the carriage, then climbed to the top of the truck and sat down. He sat on the edge and swung his feet leisurely, while the driver in the driver's seat below was also leisurely smoking by the window. Chao Shuang saw more and more people rushing over through his sunglasses. He turned his head and looked at the 5 band members on the carriage. Under the neon lights, these 5 people in their youthful passion were really dazzling. Especially Lu Yuanqiu, it seems like there are colorful clouds floating under him. So handsome, brother Qiu. Chao Shuang was stunned. He couldn't help but take out his mobile phone and take a photo below. Click. Lu Yuanqiu pulled the microphone off the pole, bent down, smiled and stretched out his right hand to his audience. His singing was still beautiful. More than a decade later, he never thought that his singing when he was young was so powerful. I sing loudly in the wind. This time I'm crazy for myself. Just this once, me and my stubbornness. Yes, don't be nervous if you love me. My stubbornness is kind. On the stage in the auditorium, white snow lotus flowers are blooming. Ling stood in the corner, staring blankly at the girl, who performed well and brilliantly in the center of the front. For several moments, she was in a trance. In this year of 2011, at this moment, as her strongest opponent in school appeared in front of her in a silent way, but she herself sent her growing opponent to the most dazzling place. Bai Qingxia raised her slender arms. She remembered all the movements clearly. She danced more beautifully and more standardly than any other girl around her, but she forgot the environment she was in. At this moment, it seemed that this was no longer the auditorium, but the familiar dance studio. The people around were no longer unfamiliar faces, but those young smiling faces. In front of her, a woman's gentle voice sounded. Xia Xia, don't be nervous, the people who love you are watching you. Yes, don't be nervous if you love me. My stubbornness is kind. The dirtier my hands are, the brighter my eyes are. The beautiful singing seemed to have spread from the distant playground to the auditorium, and to the ears of the girl in the center position. She was wearing a white dress, dancing flexibly on her tiptoes, and spinning like an elf in a music box, so beautiful that people couldn't take their eyes off her. The official bar of Juda University was already exploding. No. Why did the center position of ballet change this year? Damn, there is actually someone prettier than my senior sister Ling. No need to pull down, this girl is really great, but senior sister Ling is just as great. Senior sister Ling seems to be standing in the corner this time. As a senior sister Ling is very willing to give freshmen a chance to show their faces. Seniors are like this. She is worthy of being my favorite senior sister Ling. Freshmen? No wonder I haven't seen them before. What's her name? Didn't you realize that she is the boss lady of Xia Yuan Noodles? Her name is Bai Qingxia, and she has her own Tieba account. Brothers, change positions. After the opening dance, all the ballet girls stood together, like neatly arranged white flowers. They held hands and bent down together, bowing in unison to the people below. Warm applause lingered in the audience. A department head sitting in the audience stretched his head forward and saw a school leader in the front row turning his head to the person in the middle and smiling flatteringly. You dance really well. The person in the middle applauded and nodded. Just looking from the back, his meticulously combed white hair or his broad back revealed an aura that ordinary people could not match. He is worthy of being the principal who can only be seen on the wall of fame. Just his back makes people look in awe. When will I have the opportunity to sit next to him? The department head in the back row couldn't help thinking in his heart. Backstage, Bai Qingxia anxiously asked a student union member, excuse me, where is the exit? The student union member was stunned for a moment and said, the small door next to it is temporarily closed. The performers cannot leave now. If you want to leave, you can only go around the audience and leave from the big door at the back. Thank you. Bai Qingxia hurriedly bowed to thank her. She ran out of the preparation room backstage. Seeing this, Lu Wanchun, who was putting on makeup, hurriedly shouted, Xia Xia, where are you going? Bai Qingxia turned around and said anxiously, I'm going to find Lu Yuanqiu. Aren't you going to change your clothes? Lu Wanchun pointed at her white ballet dress. Bai Qingxia shook her head seriously. No, I just saw that many people follow me on the forum, and I'm afraid they won't recognize me if I change. I want to share my newly increased popularity with Lu Yuanqiu, even if it can only help him increase it a little bit. You really do it for him. Lu Wanchun frowned, but didn't say anything else, because she realized that Bai Qingxia seemed to be different at this time. Since this silly girl was willing to risk everything for Lu Yuanqiu, maybe because of Lu Yuanqiu, she could really make some changes from now on. Lu Wanchun smiled and said, okay, you go first, I go later, I help you increase his popularity. Bai Qingxia smiled happily and replied, thank you, Chun. Bai Qingxia ran out of the preparation room, and Lu Wanchun picked up a coat belatedly. Hey, at least tie a coat around your waist. Lu Wanchun didn't finish his words, because Bai Qingxia had disappeared. Chapter 407. At the edge of the auditorium, a girl in a snow-white ballet costume bent down, lowered her head, and quickly raised her legs and ran up the stairs on the side. Even though she lowered her head, the sharp-eyed students in the audience still recognized her. They recognized her as the girl in the center position just now. Many people turned back in surprise, followed her back, and watched her go out the door at the back of the auditorium. You left right after the performance. Where are you going? So anxious. She is really beautiful. She has a great figure too. The large number of people in the audience turned their heads, and even attracted many school leaders to watch. But the person sitting in the middle was the only one who was watching the performance on the stage. His back was deep and steady, and his fingers were tapping the armrests of his chair rhythmically. As expected of the principal, his aura is steady. The head of the department, who was sitting in the back and observing the principal, blushed and praised him again in his heart. He really wanted to sit next to the principal. Shirling stayed in the preparation room and didn't rush to change clothes. She opened her phone and checked the Baiqingxia bar. So far, the Baiqingxia bar is almost full of new posts with time marks such as a few minutes ago, a few seconds ago, and just now. Sign in, sign in. Bubble, experience, experience. I declare this to be the new goddess of Wafeng campus. Baiqingxia, this name is so nice. Her popularity is so low, did she just register? The dance is so great, I couldn't take my eyes off her performance just now. I stared at her the whole time. There is also a post that Baiqingxia just posted at the top, and there are 20 to 30 replies in just 3 minutes. Bar owner Baiqingxia, I beg everyone to go to the playground of Wafeng campus to support the performance of Yanggu String Band. Thank you very much. Yanggu String Band? Shirling remembered the content on the flyer, and she couldn't help but wonder why Baiqingxia, who was so shy and introverted, would participate in this plan that sounded a bit crazy. What is the relationship between the band and her? Shirling returned to the dance category popularity ranking interface, just for a while. Baiqingxia bar. The popularity value has increased from more than 100 to more than 200. The all-category growth rate list may have ranked in the top 10. The so-called all-category growth rate list is called Ju de all-category art specialty post bar popularity value daily real-time growth rate ranking list. Shirling flipped to this list, which has nearly 1,000 people in all categories. Baiqingxia bar. Sure enough, in more than 10 minutes, with a daily real-time growth rate 110 popularity, the value rushed to the 6th place on the list. The fastest growing band is still Yulua Band, with a terrifying daily real-time growth rate of 1,058 popularity. It seems that Yulua Band has already appeared at the welcome party of Qinsha campus, and the growth rate has increased from the usual daily average of 500 to just over 1,000 at this moment. As expected, when this kind of official campus event started, the competition for popularity became extremely fierce, and the top few were even more fierce. Shirling found that his growth rate could only be ranked all category growth rate list. Number 8. She is still the most popular dancer. Despite the huge base, her growth rate is still only ranked 8th. All categories growth rate list. The 2nd place is currently Yanggu String Band. Their daily real-time popularity growth rate has reached 324. What did these 5 people do on the playground? The growth rate is so fast. Did their plan succeed? Shirling wondered in his heart. The playground of Wafeng campus. When choosing songs, Lu Yuanqiu and his teammates discussed that all the songs they chose should be based on atmosphere songs that can warm up the audience. Zheng Baiqi said that songs should not only warm up the audience, but also keep people. After all, the audience did not spend money to buy seats. They can leave if they want after watching the excitement. It is not a loss at all. The truck under the band's feet is an absolute eye-catching point. Lu Yuanqiu's idea is great. Because of the existence of this truck, the audience will definitely come to support the performance in an endless stream. So it depends on whether the choice of songs can keep these people. Maybe they can really grab most of the people in the auditorium. At least the current start is very smooth. As for the band's performance itself, seeing so many audience members cheering excitedly and jumping up and applauding attentively, Lu Yuanqiu thought that their performance of Yanggu String Band might not be top-notch, but it definitely met the basic requirements of a professional band. I have never been to a music school, but my singing voice is still acceptable, and many people praised it loudly. I really thank God for this gift. In this case, I won't be polite. I must make a lot of money from the popularity this time. Stepping on Jingwei, punching Yulua, becoming the most popular campus band in 2012. Then, he graduated successfully with Baiqingxia. The 2nd song, Elopement. Don't be sad anymore. I see hope. Do you still have the courage to leave with me? The microphone was reinstalled on the pole. Lu Yuanqiu held the black pole with one hand and the microphone with the other. He closed his eyes and sang attentively, his body moving with the rhythm of the song. Chao Shuang, who was sitting on the top of the car, was fascinated by the song. Suddenly, he pulled down his sunglasses and stared blankly in one direction. Lu Yuanqiu's singing also stopped at this moment. The audience was enjoying the singing, and they were a little confused when they saw Lu Yuanqiu stop, and they found that Lu Yuanqiu was staring blankly in the direction behind them. The audience turned back in unison. It turned out that a beautiful girl in a ballet costume had walked into the playground at some point, and most people had recognized that she was the proprietress of Xia Yuan Noodles. Bai Qingxia stood in place, with her slender arms folded in front of her, a pair of beige ballet shoes on her feet, white one-piece stockings on her legs, a beautiful and close-fitting swan dance skirt on her body, and even a pair of white feather headdresses on both sides of her head. Many years later, when Lu Yuanqiu recalled the scene, he even thought that at that moment, Bai Qingxia was running towards him in a wedding dress. Facing so many gazes, Bai Qingxia lowered her eyes. At this moment, she didn't know what to do. The courage to run over seemed to last only for a short while on the road. "Wait a moment, and stop the music," Lu Yuanqiu said to the microphone, and then jumped off the truck immediately. The crowd made way, leaving a small path in the middle that could accommodate one person. Lu Yuanqiu walked in it, and walked towards Bai Qingxia behind the crowd with a clear goal. "It's really different from the costumes we bought ourselves. There are decorations on the head. It's really beautiful." Lu Yuanqiu walked up to her, looked at her with a smile, and then asked, "Are you here to support me?" Bai Qingxia nodded gently and whispered to him, "Yes, I was the center just now. After the dance, many people paid attention to me. I asked them to support you, and then I came too." She raised her head, and showed a shy smile on her face. If there weren't so many strangers, her smile at this moment might be brilliant. "Okay, follow me." After Lu Yuanqiu said that, he led the girl in the ballet costume and ran towards the truck in front of everyone. Bai Qingxia covered her chest with one hand, and quickly followed behind. Chapter 408. The four members of the band all watched this scene with smiles on their faces. Zhang Yifeng glanced at Su Miaomiu in the crowd. He noticed Su Miaomiu standing there from the beginning. However, Su Miaomiu was not looking at him at the moment. Instead, she and Buttooth Chong and everyone else were excitedly looking at the scene in front of them. The boy in white short-sleeved overalls led the girl in ballet clothes and ran from a distance. This scene was so youthful and beautiful in the eyes. The boss lady said in the forum that she didn't have a boyfriend, but their relationship was obviously like a boyfriend and girlfriend. What's going on? Many students attracted by the flyers were confused. When he came to the side of the truck, Lu Yuanqiu found that the chassis of the truck was still very high, even reaching Bai Qingxia's thin waist. He asked Bai Qingxia, "Are you standing below, sitting on the side, or standing up?" Bai Qingxia still didn't dare to look at the audience with her peripheral vision, but in order to help Lu Yuanqiu attract popularity, she knew that she had to appear in everyone's field of vision, but the space above was not large, and standing on it would affect everyone's view of Lu Yuanqiu. "I sit on the side." She pointed at the front edge of the carriage. Lu Yuanqiu looked down at the uneven and gray iron sheet, then glanced at Bai Qingxia's white dance skirt and the white silk on her thighs, then turned his head and looked around, trying to find something to cushion her, but there was nothing around. After a brief thought, he made a move that made many people scream. He stood on the car and took off his short-sleeved shirt generously, revealing his beautiful muscular upper body. The girls in the audience covered their mouths in shock, opened their eyes wide, and screamed. Bai Qingxia was also stunned. Lu Yuanqiu made a gesture of pressing his palm down at the screaming audience with an exaggerated expression, asking them to keep their voices down. He bent down and folded his white short-sleeved shirt on the edge of the carriage. Bai Qingxia blinked her eyes and stood quietly beside her like a Barbie doll, not knowing what to do. The next moment, Lu Yuanqiu put his hand under her armpit, picked her up like a baby, and put her on the short-sleeved shirt, and twisted her body so that she sat sideways facing the audience. "Ah!" the red-haired girl screamed. She quickly lowered her head and typed. Pink Lady Band lead singer. The younger brother of Yongdu String Band is not only handsome, good-looking, and sings well, but also very gentle and considerate. He strives hard for popularity. I really don't know what you were spraying. You'd better come to see him offline before spraying next time. Just because he is low-key in the group is not a reason for you to spray him online casually. If you dare, compete with him offline. The lead singer of the Blue Sky Band next to him lowered his head to look at his phone, glancing to the side, with a somewhat ugly expression. Yulua Band lead singer. His total popularity is 1,500, and he ranks second in the daily growth rate list of all categories. Today's growth rate is expected to surpass mine. Singles Band. So awesome, Yulua band lead singer, I give up. Can you guys stop focusing on the popularity list? You don't care about the growth rate list at all? Qinghe band, just our slow growth rate. Jingwei band lead singer, we haven't started the performance yet. What's going on the playground? Yulua band lead singer, I don't know. I'm waiting to see the video on the internet tomorrow. I can only say, Yang Guxians Jr. may not just talk, he has real strength. Chao Shuang climbed down again. He went on stage and thoughtfully moved the speakers to the bottom of the carriage to prevent the sound from shaking by Qingxia, who was sitting in front. At this time, 2 arms suddenly stretched out from the crowd. Qiuqiu, I want to sit too. The third sister stretched out her arms to Lu Yuanqiu from below like a baby. Lu Yuanqiu covered his chest awkwardly. I have nothing to take off to cushion you. The third sister pouted unhappily. Bai Qingxia put her 2 little hands on her thighs and pressed the hem of her skirt. She laughed with everyone. Finger was about to take off his short-sleeved shirt to cushion Lu Doqing. Liang Jingfeng was frightened and quickly held his hand. Brother, don't take it off. If you take it off, people will leave. Finkel, At this time, Chao Shuang suddenly took out a long blanket from the cab. Got it. He cut the blanket in half and spread it on the front edge, so that almost a whole row of people could sit in the front. At this time, Lu Yuanqiu bent down and said to Bai Qingxia, why don't you sit on the blanket instead of my clothes? I put on my clothes. Bai Qingxia was about to jump down obediently, but soon a female voice came from the audience. You are not allowed to wear it. Lu Yuanqiu covered his ears and looked forward with wide eyes. The sound was so loud. How many people were protesting? Liang Jingfeng quickly reminded him in a low voice. If I tell you not to wear it, then don't wear it. Damn, listen to them. Do you want to gain popularity? Wasn't it the original plan that Zheng Yifeng should take off his clothes? Lu Yuanqiu smiled and turned around to talk nonsense. Zheng Yifeng said nothing, but just raised his middle finger to him. Qiuqiu, hold me. Lu Doqing was still muttering below. Lu Yuanqiu was about to hold the third sister up, but found that there was a girl behind the third sister, Luo Wei. Luo Wei looked up at Lu Yuanqiu embarrassedly, and then looked at Zhong Jincheng. She blushed and lowered her head, trying to break free from Lu Doqing's hand. It's okay, come together, sit up and calm us down, Lu Yuanqiu said cheerfully. Zhong Jincheng was stunned for a moment, and quickly agreed. Yes, there are room for more than 10 people here. Lu Yuanqiu looked at him, and asked if he wanted to hold Luo Wei. Zhong Jincheng was moved, then shook his head and whispered, my waist is not good, you do it. Lu Yuanqiu could only do it himself. He held the third sister up, and then held Luo Wei. Lu Doqing sat next to Bai Qingxia, and her vision suddenly became higher. She happily swung her legs under her skirt. Bai Qingxia quickly reminded her to sit sideways when wearing a skirt, and learn from Luo Wei. At this moment, Luo Wei behaved very ladylike in front of others. Youth. Bucktooth Chan looked at this scene with emotion. Su Miaomia looked at him when she heard him. Suddenly, Su Miaomia keenly noticed that someone was looking at her. When she looked at Zheng Yifeng in her heart, she found that Zheng Yifeng was just looking down at the floor. Long Lianong was also quietly watching this scene in the crowd. Looking at the 3 girls sitting at the front edge of the carriage, he felt empty in his heart. The performance continues. Lu Yuanqiu picked up the microphone again. He exhaled heavily into the microphone. After the scene was still for a second or two, he continued the previous song. In the City of Desire. You are my last faith. There was a burst of surprise in the auditorium, and all the audience turned back in surprise. The girl who had just finished her dance performance on the stage, with a pair of long legs that attracted everyone's attention, also rushed to the main entrance. However, this girl was more high profile. She walked directly in the aisle in the middle of the audience without even bending her waist. The principal in a suit and leather shoes still did not turn around with the crowd, as if everything was under control. I'm coming! Lu Wanchun shouted on the playground. When she saw Bai Qingxia and the other 2 sitting in the car, she jumped up excitedly. I want one too! I want one too! Lu Yuanqiu paused singing, bent down and picked her up. Lu Wanchun was hanging in the air, but suddenly turned back to Lu Yuanqiu and added, wait, I want to sit next to Xia Xia. Lu Yuanqiu, The third sister Luo Wei jumped down again. Lu Wanchun sat next to Bai Qingxia, and Lu Yuanqiu hugged the third sister and Luo Wei for the second time. My waist, he clenched his teeth, and at this time a tissue was stuck to his face. He looked up and found that it was Little Swan, who was helping him wipe the sweat. But after Lu Wanchun sat down, he suddenly pointed at the crowd in surprise. Long Liandong, you sit up too. Suppressed the situation for Lu Yuanqiu. Long Liandong's eyes slightly opened. She really wanted to sit down. Finally someone noticed her, even though it was someone she disliked a little. The audience turned their heads to look. Lu Yuanqiu was holding the third sister, whose body was suspended in the air. The siblings looked at the crowd at the same time. Chapter 409. Long Liandong wore a cap on her head, a short waist revealing black leather jacket on her upper body, a shiny black leather skirt on her lower body, and a pair of black boots on her feet. Except for her white thighs exposed outside, she was dressed in black. In fact, the boys standing near her had already noticed that there was a beauty standing next to her, but because of the cap and scattered hair, they didn't know that it was Long Liandong. Good guy. This is Long Liandong. This name is so familiar. I heard it every day in the school, when the school just started. I didn't expect that this famous child star among the freshmen in grade 11 would also come to the playground to watch the performance. Is she also interested in this performance? For some reason, seeing that Long Liandong was here, the audience felt that it was a good decision to come to the playground to watch the performance. Otherwise, why didn't Long Liandong go to the auditorium but come to the playground? If she thinks it's worth coming here, then it must be worth it. At this moment, whether they knew her or not, the people around her immediately dispersed to the side, and tactfully gave Long Liandong a view for others. To be honest, if it weren't for Lu Wanchuan's sharp reminder, Lu Yuanqiu and Bai Qingxiao wouldn't have noticed her at the scene. Since the audience had made way, Long Liandong had no choice but to go out. She paused for a moment, then put down her arms folded in front of her, and walked forward with a complicated heart. She knew that she was just a tool, and no one in the car had invited her because they had a good relationship with her, but she was willing to do so. Willing to be this tool. Although she has always been a loner and doesn't like crowds, tonight, she really wants to join in the crowd with Lu Yuanqiu, instead of just being a bystander who witnesses other people's youth. Lu Wanchuan's mind seemed to have just caught up with her mouth, and she quickly turned her head to explain to her best friend. It's okay, Xia, Long Liandong is famous, and once she sits up, Lu Yuanqiu will be safe tonight. Don't you want Lu Yuanqiu to be more popular than most? Bai Qingxiao smiled and nodded at Lu Wanchun. I know, Chun, I understand. Lu Yuanqiu looked at Bai Qingxiao, but Bai Qingxiao just glanced at him lightly, and continued to smile with Lu Wanchun hand in hand, ignoring his gaze. Ahem, Lu Yuanqiu immediately stepped forward after putting the third sister down, bent down, and held Long Liandong's armpits, and lifted her up, and put her on the blanket. Lu Wanchun then found that Bai Qingxiao was quietly looking over there, with eyes like an eagle. Thank you. Long Liandong said softly. Where she sat was more than 1 meter away from Bai Qingxiao and the other three. Lu Yuanqiu smiled and responded, I should thank you, big star. After he said that, he stood up and walked to the microphone. Long Liandong looked at Bai Qingxiao at this time, and Bai Qingxiao was also looking at her, but when their eyes met, Bai Qingxiao actually took the initiative to nod politely to her this time, which was the first time she said hello, and then quickly looked away. Long Liandong was a little surprised by this, but soon thought of the reason. Is this to thank me for increasing Lu Yuanqiu's popularity? She laughed at herself in her heart. People really change a lot. I didn't expect that one day I would shamelessly come to take advantage of others' excitement. Lu Yuanqiu held the microphone in his hand. He looked at the increasing number of people on the scene. He didn't know whether it was attracted by Bai Qingxiao or Long Liandong. In short, it didn't matter who attracted them. He would win today. The muscular young man with messy hair looked ahead and said, Some people say that youth is a book that is too hasty. We read it again and again with tears in our eyes. When he said the first few words, Zheng Yifeng had already played the prelude of the next song on the electronic piano in the back. When they heard this prelude, everyone at the scene exclaimed instantly, and some people even stamped their feet crazily in the front row. This song seemed to be his favorite. Ah! The exclamations continued. It turns out that in a place with a sufficient atmosphere, the professionalism of the performance is no longer considered by everyone. It's okay to listen to it, not to mention that the lead singer sings really well. Amid the screams, Lu Yuanqiu held the microphone. Later. I finally learned how to love. It's a pity that you have already gone away. Disappeared in the crowd. There was a cry of surprise when the prelude sounded, and another cry of surprise when the song started. Lu Wanchun looked around, and quickly gathered the girls sitting next to him, and held their hands together, and then they swayed together to the rhythm of the song. Bai Qingxiao didn't look at the audience, but only looked at her friends beside her, and only listened to the song in her ears. She shook her head gently beside Lu Wanchun, with a smile on her face. Long Liandong was a little far away, and couldn't reach her hand, but she didn't care. She was just a quiet listener. Love at that time. Why was it so simple? And why? When we were young. You must hurt the one you love. Lu Wei glanced back and saw Zhong Jincheng also bowing his head and playing the bass seriously. I didn't realize he was pretty cool too. But Zhong Jincheng's face looked a little unnatural. Did he play it wrong? Lu Wei didn't understand the bass, and it seemed that no one else could hear it either. This is really a big deal. The red-haired girl in the audience quickly took a photo and sent it to the group. Pink Lady lead singer. Photo Hot Wheels band lead singer. Senior sister, you posted too late. The photo of this truck has been circulated in the official forum of Juda University. Singles band lead singer. I'm curious, can the party in the auditorium of Wanfeng campus still go on normally? Qinghe band lead singer. You have to ask senior Jingwei. Huaguang band lead singer. Damn, I can't squeeze into the crowd at Wanfeng playground. Why are there so many people? The red-haired girl quickly put down her phone and looked back. Her face was immediately shocked. The originally sparsely populated area behind her was now full of heads. Perhaps because she was not tall enough, she could no longer see the fence of the playground from her current position. Whether she could return to school on time later was still a question. In the auditorium, many people in the audience quickly left their seats after looking down at their phones, one after another, and even in groups of 2 or 3. As more and more people left, the school leaders were a little uneasy and kept looking back. But after the old man sitting in the middle took out his mobile phone and sent a message, all the school leaders, who were restless, quieted down. The 5 members of the Jingwei band were ready behind the stage curtain. The curtain was opened, and the 5 people stood in their respective positions with smiles and greeted the audience below. The 5 of them were a little nervous at the moment, focusing on the performance on the stage, and had not paid attention to the scene of people leaving the audience seats. But halfway through the performance on the stage, the good-looking bass girl first discovered the clue. Because from her perspective, a whole row of students in the back actually left collectively. The bass girl opened her eyes wide when she played, and the seats in the back row were instantly empty, which was quite obvious. Chapter 410. She thought that row was just a special case, until she saw 2 rows of students leave on the spot. She was so shocked that she played the wrong beat. During this kind of performance, the performance of the audience can best reflect the performance effect. It is okay if the audience does not applaud or cheer, but if a large number of audience members leave, it will definitely be the most psychological scene. The lead singer of Jingwei band also discovered it at this moment. As the captain of the band ranked second in popularity, even the second in popularity in all categories, he has never seen this phenomenon when his band performs. It couldn't be because of the performance on stage. Could it be the playground? He felt that the forum must be very lively now. In fact, as he guessed, a photo of a truck in the official forum had been circulated wildly, and even the graduated seniors were liking, commenting, and forwarding the post. The seniors shouted, "I graduated too early, I didn't catch up. The juniors nowadays are so good at playing the playground. You look as comfortable as if you were curled up in a quilt. But it's like the wind that can't be grasped." While singing, Lu Yuanqiu turned around and frantically signaled with his eyes to Zhang Yifeng, who was playing the electronic piano in the back. Su Miaomiu in the audience even understood Lu Yuanqiu's hint, but Zhang Yifeng seemed not to understand it. He didn't move at all, and played the electronic piano with full concentration. This scene made Su Miaomiu bite her back teeth. She was obviously listening to her favorite song, but she was not happy at all at this moment. To treat chaos with order, to treat uproar with calm, this is to treat the heart. Zhang Yifeng recalled in his heart. Finally, a smile quietly appeared on his lips, because he noticed from the corner of his eye that a figure had squeezed out of the crowd and came to the side of the truck. Su Miaomiu really couldn't hold it back. She was about to explode. The beautiful female instructor raised her head and smiled calmly. "I wonder if the teacher has the honor to sit up there and listen to my students sing?" Long Liandong even moved to the side, but Zhang Yifeng remained indifferent. Su Miaomiu, who was smiling, bit her back teeth again. Lu Yuanqiu sang, while turning back to stare at Zhang Yifeng. Zhang Yifeng seemed to have just noticed, and walked over with an expressionless face. Although he was not as strong as Lu Yuanqiu, his waist was still good. He could still carry only one person on the bus. However, Zhang Yifeng chose to lie at this moment. "Sorry, teacher, I am not strong enough. It is not easy to carry on the bus. I will come down to carry you. In the bus, you only touch the girl's armpits. It is different if you carry her from below." He jumped down and stood in front of Su Miaomiu, who had a gloomy face. Then he bent down and hugged her knees under her short skirt with an expressionless face. Su Miaomiu exclaimed and immediately hugged Zhang Yifeng's neck with both arms. The woman sat on Zhang Yifeng's arm with a slightly red face. looking down at his outstanding face. With Lu Yuanqiu singing the background song I Love You like a conflict of left traffic lights and right traffic lights, crazy but afraid of having no way out, she was gently placed on the blanket by Zheng Yifeng. Click. Su Miaomia looked down and found that the high-heeled sandal on her right foot had fallen off. Zheng Yifeng bent down to pick it up. Su Miaomia instinctively stretched her snow-white feet forward, but Zheng Yifeng directly handed the shoes to her hands and then climbed onto the carriage from the side. Good, good, Zheng Yifeng, well done. Su Miaomia took the shoes with a smile, then bent her legs and put them on herself. Her ladylike movements seemed to hide a raging rage. Lu Yuanqiu sang with a strange expression. Why do I feel that Zheng Yifeng has taken more advantage than me? But it seems that the girls are more proactive than him? Lu Yuanqiu inexplicably felt that Zheng Yifeng was a bit powerful recently, because as an outsider, he could see that Su Miaomia was a little different to Zheng Yifeng, whether it was her eyes or her words. He could see some clues. These two are so strange. Lu Yuanqiu is getting more and more confused. After Su Miaomia sat down between Lu Wei and Long Liandong, 6 girls with different looks but definitely above the level of beauty sat in front of the band. In the current situation, for the audience, these beauties seem to be more attractive than the band, with so many legs and beautiful faces. Not only the boys in the audience are willing to watch, but the girls are even more willing to watch. In the auditorium, after the 5 members of the Jingwei band finished their performance, they immediately went backstage to open their phones and open the forum. After seeing the photo of the truck, Jingwei's captain Chu Wenxuan finally understood everything. There is no doubt that Yang Guxian's junior succeeded. Or, this junior was determined to win from the beginning. His confidence came from his strength and his careful plan, as well as his grasp of the psychology of college students. He could not lose. But with so many beautiful girls supporting him, Chu Wenxuan couldn't help but wonder, what is the true identity of this junior? It's only been 1.5 months since the start of school, 3 more performances have passed, and the welcome party is almost coming to an end. At this time, the school leaders collectively received 3 messages from the principal. The first one, increase security personnel to the playground, wait for the band's performance to end normally, evacuate students, and ensure the safety of students' exit. The second one, drive Daidan to the playground, and let her give a closing speech on the playground after the band's performance. The third one, today's party at Wafeng campus is extremely wonderful. Thank you all for accompanying me, an old man, until now. I am old and used to going to bed early. I will go to rest first after sending these 3 messages. The old man, sitting in the front row, and the middle raised his arms and stretched, then stood up and left in one direction. A group of leaders in suits and leather shoes immediately followed behind him. The department head, who had been paying attention to the principal, couldn't help but look back. Most of the students had left. Why did the principal leave too? The crowded playground. Lu Yuanqiu looked at the crowd in front of him and picked up the microphone and said, there is only 1 song left. I guess the party in the auditorium is coming to an end. Are there any of you coming from the auditorium? Suddenly, a boy responded loudly, everyone in the auditorium has left. They all came to the playground to see you. We are the last wave. His words immediately aroused a large-scale commotion. After all, there were many audience members who were not watching the performance in the auditorium. These audience members were either walking around the campus or lying down in the dormitory, but without exception, they were attracted by the excitement on the playground. Lu Yuanqiu was about to respond when he suddenly saw a white car driving over not far away. The car drove all the way to the track of the playground before stopping. The car door opened, and Daidan, dressed in a long dress, walked down. The audience immediately exclaimed, why is Daidan here? Chapter 411. Lu Yuanqiu understood what the arrangement was, and he quickly shouted into the microphone, everyone, everyone, Senior Dai will probably give a speech next, please make way for her in the middle, be careful, don't fall. As soon as the voice fell, the dozen people on the truck immediately looked towards the direction of the playground entrance. There were more people coming over there. Lu Yuanqiu also looked over, and found that 2 security cars drove in, which made him frown. Are you going to chase them away? That's not right. If you were going to chase them away, why would you send Daidan here? Seeing this, Chao Shuang quickly climbed down from the front of the car and sat obediently in the passenger seat. The driver in the driver's seat also quickly put out his cigarette. A security guard on the other side of the security car picked up the horn and shouted, perform as normal. Lu Yuanqiu was stunned for a moment, then looked at Daidan and found that Daidan was also waving at him, signaling him to continue singing. I see. One of them is here to wait for me to finish the performance and give a speech, One was sent here purely to protect the safety of the evacuation of the on-site personnel. It was probably arranged by the principal. Lu Yuanqiu patted the microphone and shouted to the crowd with a smile. Perform. Continue. Oh! The audience cheered again. Daidan was already there, so there was no need for them to leave. Some people didn't plan to listen to Daidan's speech. After all, they were not fans and had no interest. But seeing this, it was okay to listen to the speech after the band's performance. Give the band some face. After all, the atmosphere was already here. The last song. All the previous songs were chosen to maintain the atmosphere on the scene. This last song was Lu Yuanqiu's personal choice. When choosing songs, everyone felt that if the plan failed, they would not be able to sing the last song. If the plan succeeded, it would not matter what the last song was. After all, the audience had supported them until now, so they simply gave it to Lu Yuanqiu to decide what the ending song would be. The last song. Lu Yuanqiu stretched out his voice, then smiled and said, "It's a song about maple from summer. If everyone can sing, can we sing together?" Bai Qingxia immediately raised her head and looked at the people behind her with bright eyes. Lu Yuanqiu smiled at her, and Bai Qingxia also smiled happily. Then she withdrew her eyes from Lu Yuanqiu and sat in the corner, instantly immersed in her own happy world. She had never heard of the previous songs except Red High Heels, but although Red High Heels was nice, it was not her favorite song. What she loves is maple, and also the season when maple turns red. Zheng Yifeng's slender fingers pressed the piano keys. Lu Yuanqiu listened to the music and thought of the song he and Bai Qingxia had listened to while sitting on a stool in the hospital. Unexpectedly, the scene changed, and the song appeared again, and it was now. I sang it. The dark clouds have cast a shadow in our hearts. I listened to the mood that has been silent for a long time. When Lu Yuanqiu sang the first sentence, the chorus on the scene had already begun. At first, he saw everyone's confused look and thought that everyone had never heard it before. Everyone has heard of it, but most people haven't heard of summer maple. What is it? When Lu Yuanqiu sang it, they knew it was maple. Why say summer maple? The slowly falling maple leaves are like longing. I light candles to warm the autumn at the end of the year. Lu Yuanqiu waved his arms and looked at the chorus in front with a smile. Daidan, who was standing not far away, even took out his mobile phone to take pictures of this scene. The girls sitting in the front row of the carriage were swaying gently, echoing Lu Yuanqiu singing. Bai Qingxia was also singing quietly, and then a microphone was suddenly handed to her mouth. The girl immediately lowered her head and pursed her lips, blinking nervously. A female voice soon sounded. It was Lu Wangchun who took the microphone. Although she sang in tune, she had a hoarse voice. Seeing Lu Wangchun singing, Bai Qingxia breathed a sigh of relief and shrank shyly to the side and laughed. Her singing was much worse than Lu Wangchun's, but she would not feel disappointed because she couldn't sing well, because being able to hear this song was the happiest thing today. She still remembered the first time she listened to the song with her legs hugged at Li Jia's house, the first time she learned that the boy was called Lu Yuanqiu, and the time she liked Feng. The surprise and joy of the first time she was associated with her favorite autumn. A girl in her early teens would really feel that the world is so magical because of such a small thing. She would feel that those who love each other have something in common. The slowly falling maple leaves are like longing. Why should we save each other before winter comes? Long Liandong sang softly and looked to the side. She still didn't wait for Lu Yuanqiu to pass the microphone to her mouth. She was obviously famous for singing since she was a child. Did Lu Yuanqiu not know this, or did he simply want to pass the microphone to Bai Qingxia? Maybe it was the latter, or both. After the song was finished, Lu Yuanqiu put the microphone back on the stand. He paused and said, "I think this song is very related to me, because there is a line in the lyrics that is quite similar to me." While everyone was recalling which line it was, Lu Yuanqiu had already greeted Daidan, who was not far away. "Okay, Senior Dai, we are done." Daidan responded and got back into the car. The car drove over here, and Lu Yuanqiu jumped under the truck and carried the girls down one by one, and then put on the white short-sleeved shirt that Bai Qingxia was sitting on. It smelled sweet, the smell of summer. Thinking that Daidan might need the microphone, he didn't put away the instrument. "Hey, it's time to check the results," Lu Yuanqiu whispered, and then called his companions to enter the cab. Seeing the 5 band members enter the cab, Bai Qingxia stood there and wanted to go in, but Lu Wangchun quickly pulled her back and whispered, "There are 5 grown men in there. Why are you going in?" Bai Qingxia pouted slightly, and could only stand in front with the other girls to listen to Daidan's speech, but there were too many people, and she actually wanted to leave. In the cab, squeeze in, driver. Lu Yuanqiu smiled. The driver smoked a cigarette and looked up and down at Lu Yuanqiu. Young man, you sing very well. Thank you for the compliment. After Lu Yuanqiu finished speaking, he opened his mobile phone with his teammates. The total popularity value is 3,125. Finger suddenly yelled, and Liang Jingfeng quickly reached out to cover his mouth. Keep your voice down. The audience's emotions haven't calmed down yet. Don't let them find out our utilitarianism. Lu Yuanqiu shook his head and smiled. Liang Jingfeng is quite like his father. On the growth rate list of all categories, Yang Guxian ranked first, Yuluo ranked second, and Bai Qingxiao ranked third. The total popularity value of Bai Qingxiao bar reached 1205. Chapter 412. Bai Qingxiao bar ranks third in the growth rate of all categories, with a daily increase of 1135 popularity points, and she has now entered the top 30 of the dance category popularity list. Overnight, from the initial 300 to the current top 30, it's too fast. It's really like what Zheng Yifeng said, if Bai Qingxiao wants to really explode, she only needs a ballet plus a stage. And Yanggu's string band relies on the daily increase of 2075. The popularity value ranked first in the growth rate list of all categories, and the second rank Yuluo band had a daily increase of 1,324. Zhong Jincheng looked at the list and couldn't help wondering. No, this Yuluo band is too powerful, just one performance on stage can increase so much popularity. Lu Yuanqiu also found a clue. The popularity value growth rate of Yuluo band actually increased instead of decreasing. Although the growth rate of Yanggu's string band is still the fastest in the ranking list, the popularity value of Yuluo band is closely behind, and the growth rate has far surpassed the third-ranked Bai Qingxiao bar. Zheng Yifeng said, their fan base is too large, and they are very sticky. Seeing that their favorite band is about to be surpassed by us, their fans began to work hard. After he finished speaking, he handed over the phone, and the four people including Lu Yuanqiu hurried forward. Yuluo band. Hurry up. We can't be surpassed by Yanggu's string band. Brothers, boost your popularity, comment, post, like, and forward. Cheer for the senior sister. What is Yanggu's string band? Do you think you can shake Yuluo band's first place by being clever? To be honest, I was at Wanfeng's live show, and Yanggu's string band's performance was really average. The bassist made several mistakes. If they rely on this kind of marketing strategy, if they surpass Yuluo, then the category of campus band can really be abandoned. These posts, a few minutes ago or even just now, are almost all of the same type, all dragging down others. Liang Jingfeng turned his head and glared at Zhong Jincheng. I told you not to practice well. You've seen through it. Zhong Jincheng, Lu Yuanqiu tute twice. There are so many fans of Yuluo. Tap water? What do you mean? Finger was puzzled. Isn't there a network term like this now? Lu Yuanqiu was stunned for a moment. He did not respond, but checked the Shirling bar and found that the fans in the Shirling bar were the same. Some people were crazy about Shirling, but Shirling's fans were much more gentle and did not drag down Bai Qingxiao. It is also possible that Shirling's fans were also impressed by Bai Qingxiao. It is also true that Bai Qingxiao is a gifted person. She has good looks and professionalism, and she will not be criticized. On the contrary, their Yanggu string band was formed temporarily, and their professionalism is definitely not as good as Yuluo. Anyone with a discerning eye can see that Yanggu's string band used a trick, because Yang Guxian's tricks this time may even help Yuluo band gain popularity. Lu Yuanqiu looked up and said to his teammates, don't worry about it. Anyway, we have made money, and we have made a lot of money. Our band has only been established for a month. Who can increase the popularity by 2,000 plus in one night? We must have gained a lot of true fans on campus. Zhong Jincheng nodded excitedly while looking at his phone. Yes, there are also many people praising us in our forum. But he suddenly frowned again. Why are all the posts praising Lu Yuanqiu and Zheng Yifeng? Am I not handsome enough? What about me? No one praised me. I created the atmosphere, okay? Liang Jingfeng also hurried over. After the two looked around, they found that there was indeed no one praising them. So they looked up at Lu Yuanqiu and Zheng Yifeng with resentful eyes at the same time. Zheng Yifeng had an icy face, and Lu Yuanqiu picked his nose and bounced to the opposite side. Finger picked up the phone and said, Isn't there someone praising Zhong Jincheng? Zhong Jincheng was like a wolf seeing meat, and he quickly snatched Finger's phone away. Norway. Thumbs up, picture. This person sent a thumbs up emoji, and below it was a photo of Zhong Jincheng holding a bass. Zhong Jincheng was surprised and excited to click on this person's homepage. When he found out that it was a girl, he became even more excited and asked quickly, "Who is this?" No one paid attention to him, and Liang Jingfeng was still frantically looking for posts praising himself, and his fingers were almost rubbing sparks on the phone screen. Lu Yuanqiu glanced at Finger at this time, and found that Finger didn't seem to care whether there were any posts praising him alone. He leaned against the door and stroked his guitar. Unlike Liang Jingfeng, Finger's face was filled with a subtle sense of happiness. Outside, the speech of senior sister Daidan seemed to be coming to an end. It seemed that she was mentioning their band. Lu Yuanqiu calmed down and listened attentively in the cab. Just now, I watched their youth and saw their unreserved love and courage. I admit that I was not as brave as them when I was 18 years old. I regret it so much. Youth is really a grand and beautiful journey, but when I realized this, I was already 26 years old. Haha, I hope you could all be like the Yongu String Band, be more passionate in the future, and don't waste your time. Thank you everyone. Applause rang out outside, and Lu Yuanqiu was silent in the cab. At this time, the car door was opened, and Chao Shuang stood outside, crying with snot and tears. Lu Yuanqiu was surprised. What's wrong with you? Brother Qiu, Daidan's speech was so good, her alma mater turned out to be Zuda? Chao Shuang asked, wiping tears. Lu Yuanqiu, you know her too? Chao Shuang, yeah, because she has big breasts. Lu Yuanqiu, eh? After leaving the stage, the three sisters all left with the crowd, leaving only Bai Qingxia and Lu Wanchun. Lu Yuanqiu paid the truck driver, and was about to pack up the instruments with his companions when he suddenly heard a very subtle hum in his ear. The slowly falling maple leaves are like missing. Lu Yuanqiu looked back sharply, and behind him, Bai Qingxia was standing hand in hand with Lu Wanchun, waiting. However, Lu Wanchun was looking at the truck, while Bai Qingxia was looking back at the students who were leaving. Lu Wanchun didn't move his mouth, so it should be Bai Qingxia who was humming. Shoo. Lu Yuanqiu raised his index finger to Lu Wanchun, then quietly approached Bai Qingxia, and pricked up his ears to get close to her. The aurora plunders the horizon, the north wind. Oh, the little swan sings so beautifully. Lu Yuanqiu suddenly spoke in a mean way. Bai Qingxia was startled by the sound. When she saw that it was Lu Yuanqiu, she quickly went around to the other side of Lu Wanchun and lowered her head quickly. Lu Yuanqiu chased after her without giving up, bent down to look at her red face. Bai Qingxia closed her mouth tightly, dodged her eyes, turned her back to him, as if Lu Yuanqiu discovered that she was singing, just like she pretended to be dumb for many years, and was suddenly found to be able to speak. Chapter 413. I handed you the microphone just now, but you didn't sing. Now you're singing secretly. I punish you by singing it to me in private. I use it as my cell phone ringtone. Lu Yuanqiu said behind her. Bai Qingxia looked very embarrassed, and went around to the other side of Lu Wanchun. Lu Yuanqiu wanted to catch up with her, but was stopped by Lu Wanchun. Xia is embarrassed to sing in front of so many people, isn't it? You know her well, bitch, you have to tease her, right? Lu Wanchun said unhappily. She turned her head, and said to Bai Qingxia, who was in a dilemma, this guy is so mean, why are you still waiting for him here? Let's go back. It's a bit cold, and your arms are still bare. Bai Qingxia said softly, and without even looking at Lu Yuanqiu. She buried her head, and walked towards the playground gate in unison with Lu Wanchun. Lu Wanchun turned around and stuck out his tongue and raised his middle finger to mock Lu Yuanqiu. Little Lu Wanchun. Lu Yuanqiu looked at their backs, and suddenly felt that the friendship between girls was so beautiful. They hugged and held hands anytime and anywhere, unlike boys and boys. When they walked, their fingers accidentally touched each other, and they would feel disgusted for a minute. Thinking of this, Lu Yuanqiu walked to the truck and took Zhong Jincheng's hand. Zhong Jincheng turned his head, and looked over strangely. Seeing Lu Yuanqiu looking at him quietly without saying a word, he immediately shook his hand away with an exaggerated expression, as if he had touched something dirty. Psycho! Get lost! Look! Back to the dormitory, Lu Yuanqiu took a shower and came back to lie down. He opened his phone and looked at the lead singer group and found that many people were tagging him. It turned out that Senior Jingwei and Senior Yulua had sent messages in front. Jingwei band lead singer. Sorry, I slapped you in the face covering my face, and Laughing Yongu String Band has 2,000 plus new members every day. I have only seen this kind of growth rate in the most popular campus band in 2009, since I registered. Yulua band lead singer. Awesome at Yongu String Band lead singer. Huaguang band lead singer. Wow, this is the first time that senior sister has praised someone. Lu Yuanqiu didn't reply because he was busy, so many bands below were repeating and tagging him. Singles band lead singer at Yongu String Band lead singer, my goddess is talking to you. Chingha band lead singer at Yongu String Band lead singer, my goddess is talking to you. Hot Wheels band lead singer at Yongu String Band lead singer, my goddess is talking to you. The above copied messages were sent nearly 100 times. Today's lead singer group was unusually lively. All those who usually didn't show up showed up, except for the Blue Sky Band. This guy who often showed up went into hiding. Lu Yuanqiu was thinking whether to reply to the message. If he didn't reply, he could pretend to be cool, but that would make him look a bit too arrogant. But Lu Yuanqiu didn't want to reply too humbly. After all, his arrogant personality had already been established, and he wanted this kind of effect in the eyes of his peers. After thinking about it, Lu Yuanqiu replied, Yongu String Band lead singer, Senior Daidon said yesterday that youth should be reckless, and I happen to be used to not following the rules, so if I offend you, please forgive me, seniors. Lu Yuanqiu just said a simple sentence, and then went back into hiding. He wanted to add I may continue to offend you, but after thinking about it, he decided not to. After all, being bombarded is not that pleasant. Now this feeling is good. They want to hit me after hearing it, but they can't find a reason. After all, I am quite polite, hee. The news in the group chat exploded again. Various emoticons of watching the show emerged one after another. This sentence doesn't sound so arrogant, but it reveals a youthful and reckless spirit. But no one dared to confront Lu Yuanqiu anymore, because what happened tonight was the result of what they had done before. Yu Luo and Jing Wei continued to peek at the screen, and Lu Yuanqiu did not speak. In a place he could not see, a beautiful woman sat on the bed in the dormitory and chuckled at the phone screen. Little brat. These three short words seemed to carry the meaning of wait and see. Many lead singers in the group began to tag Lu Yuanqiu to ask about the 6 girls, but he did not respond. At this time, a message was received in the background. Lu Yuanqiu switched out, and saw that it was the lead singer of Jingwei Band who requested to add him as a friend. Alas, why do you a man add me? If it was senior sister Yu Luo who added me, I would have agreed more readily. However, thinking that Jingwei's remarks so far were not offensive, and they were from the same campus, Lu Yuanqiu agreed. After adding him as a friend, the two of them simply greeted each other and stopped chatting. The next day, Rinjian Fireworks Restaurant. Due to yesterday's welcome party, Xia Yuan noodles was extremely popular at noon today. In the Bai Qingxiao bar, many people even made an appointment to come to Rinjian Fireworks Restaurant to check in and eat noodles today. The number of posts discussing eating noodles in the forum today has exceeded the number of posts discussing the ballet performance last night. It's a pity that the original Baishi instant noodles disappeared from the market too early. Except for some middle-aged people, basically no young people remember the taste of that year. Even many young people today have never eaten it back then. After all, they were still young at that time. Otherwise, Bai Qingxiao bar would have become more popular because of this. The gimmick is, a beautiful girl from a certain college actually reproduced the taste of the Baishi instant noodles of the past. Because there were too many people at noon, Bai Qingxiao had to squeeze into the store and help Aunt Sue and the uncle cook noodles together. The flow of people in the past few days was indeed not as good as when the store first opened, so as of this morning, Aunt Sue's previous advance costs were almost recovered. After noon today, most of the store's revenue will really go into Bai Qingxiao's pocket. Number 12. After Bai Qingxiao finished shouting, she raised her arm and wiped the sweat off her forehead. At this moment, a small hand suddenly reached out to the table, but it was not to take the noodles, but to put a pack of paper towels with cartoon patterns on the table. Bai Qingxiao was stunned, looked up, and found that it was the little girl Qi Chao Chao. Qi Chao Chao pointed to her forehead and said softly in a small voice, "Wipe it." Bai Qingxiao was about to ask her if she had any noodles, but the little girl didn't give her a chance at all. After saying those 2 words, she quickly turned around and ran to the corner of the restaurant to sit down. This time, she didn't hug her legs, but buried her face under the table, leaving only a pair of eyes looking towards the store. Bai Qingxiao took out a tissue to wipe her sweat. After seeing this scene, Qi Chao Chao withdrew her gaze with satisfaction. She wanted to wait until the people over there left before ordering a bowl of noodles. Lu Yuanqiu turned his head and looked at Qi Chao Chao. He was also in the Rinjian Fireworks Restaurant with Zheng Yifeng and Zhong Jinqing. At this time, a message came to his mobile phone. Bai Qingxiao, Lu Yuanqiu, please help me serve this bowl of noodles to Qi Chao Chao. She probably doesn't dare to come here by herself. Lu Yuanqiu, do you think I'm a devil? Just call me Qiuqiu and I go. Chapter 414. After Lu Yuanqiu sent the message, he looked back. Bai Qingxiao happened to look up at this time. After meeting Lu Yuanqiu's gaze, the girl lowered her eyes again. Lu Yuanqiu smiled and thought that Bai Qingxiao would send a message obediently, but she moved her phone aside, raised her hand to open the small door of the shop, and prepared to walk out with the noodles. You are so brave. Lu Yuanqiu was speechless and hurried over. Blocked by a tall shadow in front of her, Bai Qingxiao stopped holding the noodles, her face drooped low with a hint of shyness in her stubbornness, and she didn't look up at him. Okay. Give it to me. Lu Yuanqiu stretched out his hand. Bai Qingxiao pouted and hesitated, but after a moment she stretched out her hand and handed him the noodles. What's wrong with calling me Qiuqiu? I've called you Xiaxia so many times. Lu Yuanqiu lowered his head and approached her little face that was red from the heat, as if trying to read her eyes. I'm going to cook noodles. Bai Qingxiao turned around and dodged his gaze. Damn, I know! Zhong Jincheng suddenly exclaimed, and Lu Yuanqiu looked back and walked over there curiously with the noodles in his hand. He asked, Who? Zhong Jincheng had just been analyzing who posted the only post that praised him yesterday. Zheng Yifeng also looked over, and saw that the interface on Zhong Jincheng's phone showed the homepage of Norway. However, there was only one history post on this Norway homepage, which was a post about studying in the library. There was also a photo in the post, which was a photo of a book on the table, with a pen and a teacup next to the book. Zhong Jincheng immediately took the phone and clicked on the picture of the library. Zheng Yifeng, do you recognize the other person's handwriting? Zhong Jincheng shook his head. No, in this picture, the pen and the teacup are placed on the left side of the book, which is obviously a left-handed habit. Luo Wei is left-handed. I said it once in this restaurant before. Although what you said is a bit too absolute, but I suddenly realized that Norway and Luo Wei do read very similarly. Lu Yuanqiu spoke. Zhong Jincheng was even more excited when he heard it. Yes, it's a homophone. I thought this guy liked this place, now can't I be more sure it's her? Zheng Yifeng didn't know Luo Wei, and continued to eat with his head down without interest. Lu Yuanqiu, then what? Then. Zhong Jincheng's excitement passed, he scratched his head, and suddenly muttered to himself, then. Why did she give me a thumbs up? Lu Yuanqiu shrugged, I like you. After he finished speaking, he walked towards Qi Chaoqiao with his face in his hand, while Zhong Jincheng, who was sitting in his seat, suddenly froze there, as if his brain had crashed. Hee, how come there is a sister who is alone? Lu Yuanqiu approached the corner, and smiled obscenely at Qi Chaoqiao. Qi Chaoqiao was sitting at the table in a daze. When she saw Lu Yuanqiu approaching, she quickly curled her legs on the chair and hugged her legs, with her head on her knees. This seemed to be her self-defense method. Lu Yuanqiu immediately gave up the idea of teasing her. After all, he teased Bai Qingxiao because he knew Bai Qingxiao inside and out, but he didn't know Qi Chaoqiao. What if he teased her again? Hey, your sister Bai prepared a bowl of noodles for you in advance, put it here. Lu Yuanqiu put the noodles on the table. Qi Chaoqiao looked timidly to the side, still not moving. There was no one around, and she looked very scared. Lu Yuanqiu glanced at her, turned around and walked back without staying for too long. Seeing him leave, Qi Chaoqiao put down her legs, moved the bowl of noodles in front of her, lifted her hair and ate quickly. When Lu Yuanqiu returned to his seat, he found that Zhong Jincheng had already edited the message on the mobile phone interface, and seemed to want to send it to Luo Wei for confirmation, but he bit his finger and never pressed the send button. Ding. Lu Yuanqiu stood behind him and clicked send for him. You're welcome. I'm just so helpful. Fuck. I'm a bitch. Zhong Jincheng chased Lu Yuanqiu around the table, and seemed to have entered a state of madness. Zheng Yifeng calmly ate noodles in the middle of them, turning a blind eye to the scene, but Lu Yuanqiu pressed his head when he ran. Zheng Yifeng, Bai Qingxiao looked over after hearing the noise. She gathered her hair and stared at the two people playing over there for a while, then looked towards Qi Chaoqiao. Seeing Qi Chaoqiao eating noodles seriously, she couldn't help but smile. Zhong Jincheng finally stopped chasing because he had received a reply on his phone, so he looked down to check. Luo Wei, why do you think it was me? Zhong Jincheng, isn't it? Ha ha ha, just a random guess. He said without confidence that it was because he was left-handed, not because he was afraid of being thought of as smart, but because he didn't want to be thought of as paying too much attention to this post. Luo Wei, it was indeed me. I just thought you were different from before. Well, you played very well. I encourage you. Praise you. Keep it up. Lu Yuanqiu narrowed his eyes, and found that Zhong Jincheng was standing there with a blushing face. A very obvious excitement appeared on this guy's face. You blushed. Ah? Zhong Jincheng was stunned for a moment. Really? No. He blinked and sat down. The The corners of his mouth seemed to want to curl up, but he showed a look of trying not to smile. His tense features looked a little awkward. I'm done. Zheng Yifeng put down his chopsticks. Lu Yuanqiu frowned. You could eat a bowl of noodles for half an hour. I'm drunk too. Let's go back and take a nap. Seeing the three people walking out of the restaurant, Bai Qingxiao looked up. She stood there for a while holding the rag, then wiped her hands on her apron and took out her phone. Ding ding ding. Lu Yuanqiu, who was walking out of the restaurant, heard the sound and took out his phone. Bai Qingxiao, Qiu. In the restaurant, the girl pursed her lips and stared at the phone screen in a daze, feeling a little shy and embarrassed. At this time, a sudden laugh came from the door of the restaurant. He, which little cutie called me just now? Lu Yuanqiu actually ran back again. Bai Qingxiao's eyes widened immediately, and she quickly squatted down and hid behind the counter. She hugged her legs embarrassedly and buried her head deeply. Lu Yuanqiu scratched his head. Seeing many eyes in the restaurant looking at him, and Bai Qingxiao hiding again, he cleared his throat awkwardly, ahem, and turned around and left the restaurant silently. So embarrassing. 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Bai Qingxiao went back with Qi Chao, who had been waiting for her in the restaurant until 3 o'clock. Bai Qingxiao couldn't help but look back and said, You don't have to wait for me so long, come back first after you finish eating. The two of them were originally walking side by side, but Qi Chao had short legs, and if she didn't jog to follow, she would be left behind by Bai Qingxiao. Bai Qingxiao wanted to hold her hand, but Qi Chao was embarrassed. I want to play with you. Qi Chao stopped and said in a low voice. Thinking that she didn't have any friends before, Bai Qingxiao's eyes softened in an instant. She stretched out her right hand to Qi Chao, and Qi Chao hesitated for a moment, but still stretched out her little hand. The moment she held Bai Qingxiao's hand, a smile appeared on her little face. Bai Qingxiao led her to the door of Building F. Qi Chao was swinging her arms and was happy, but when she saw a middle-aged man sitting on the steps at the door of the female dormitory, the expression on her face immediately became surprised and frightened. Chapter 415. The man turned his head. Bai Qingxiao looked at him, but then she paused because Qi Chao, who was holding her hand, suddenly stopped without any warning. Bai Qingxiao turned her head and saw Qi Chao looking forward. Her eyes were wide open under her messy hair, and her eyes were filled with real panic. Bai Qingxiao had seen this kind of look before. On the night her brother died, her father was exhausted and holding her hand when he came back from the hospital. When he entered the house and looked at the blood on the pillow, he showed this kind of look. The appearance of this kind of eyes seemed to be a precursor to emotional collapse, but Qi Chao just didn't move, as if she was cast into a spell, while her father was crying and banging his head against the wall. That night, Bai Qingxiao was so scared that she hugged her legs and huddled in a corner, feeling that the world in front of her seemed to have an unreal crack. The middle-aged man on the steps walked over. He was wearing a light blue long-sleeved uniform, like the one worn by workers on the construction site, and dirty dark blue pants with mud on the bottom of the pants, and a pair of camouflage cloth shoes on his feet. The man approached with a smile on his face, and there seemed to be a faint smell of alcohol on his body. Hello, I'm her father, come to see her. The man nodded humbly to Bai Qingxiao, and then reached out to hold Qi Cao's hand. Child, if I hadn't asked your grandmother back home, I wouldn't have known that you had come to Zhucheng. Your grandmother also bought you a computer, right? What are you playing on the computer for? What if you don't listen? The middle-aged man lowered his head and scolded gently, then took Qi Cao's little hand and walked in one direction. Qi Chao seemed to be dumb, not saying a word, just following him. Bai Qingxiao stopped and watched, and suddenly saw Qi Chao looking back at her, crying silently. After walking a few steps, the middle-aged man suddenly stopped because of resistance from behind. He turned around and found that it was the beautiful girl who ran over and held Qi Cao's hand again. What's wrong? The man smiled, then lowered his head and said, Chao, say goodbye to her quickly, we still have things to do. Bai Qingxiao frowned. Wait a minute, you need to register before you go out. After she finished speaking, she quickly took out her phone to send a message to Lu Yuanqiu, but just after typing a word, the phone was vigilantly snatched away by the middle-aged man. The middle-aged man looked down and saw that the girl sent a quick message to someone named Lu Yuanqiu. It should be that she hadn't finished typing just now, and when he snatched it, he accidentally pressed the send button. The smile on his face froze a little. Who are you sending a message to? Bai Qingxiao's heartbeat accelerated. The door. The guard. What's the hurry? Ah! Suddenly, Qi Chao clenched her fists and let out an extremely piercing scream. The middle-aged man panicked for a moment and quickly covered her mouth. but Chi Chow Chow was desperate to scream at this moment. The middle-aged man smiled and handed the phone back to Bai Qingxia, saying sorry, then quickly put Chi Chow Chow on his shoulder and scolded, "Why don't you listen? Dad came to see you. What's your name?" Seeing that he was about to leave, Bai Qingxia didn't care about anything else and rushed forward to hold Chi Cao Cao's hand again. This time, Chi Cao Cao's stiff body finally responded. Her other little hand quickly reached out and cried to grab Bai Qingxia, as if someone had finally reached out a hand to her on the shore of the swamp after so many years. She was no longer dull, and her desire to survive completely burst out, and she desperately wanted to grab this life-saving straw. "Let go, she is my daughter. What are you doing? If you do this again, I will call the police." The middle-aged man turned back angrily. Bai Qingxia glared at him. "Call the police." The middle-aged man pulled Bai Qingxia's arm hard, and Bai Qingxia refused to let go. At this moment, a figure rushed over quickly and kicked the man. The incident happened too quickly. After the middle-aged man flew out, Chi Chow Chow fell heavily to the ground from midair and passed out. The man rolled several times and lay on the ground groaning, shouting that his bones were broken. The onlookers were already stunned. Only then did someone take out their cell phones to call the police. Bai Qingxia turned her head and saw that the person who had just kicked someone was Lu Wanchun. Lu Wanchun was now in a taekwondo stance, panting heavily and holding a bag of snacks in his hand. "Who is this person?" Lu Wanchun was confused and asked Bai Qingxia in a surprised voice. It seemed that her mind had just caught up with the kick she had just made. The crowd of onlookers gradually increased, surrounding Block F. Chi Cao Cao's father wanted to escape, but the security guard stopped him, so he lay on the ground, screaming ouch and breaking all the bones in his body. He also shouted people from Zhucheng are bullying others. The security guard standing next to him watched his performance expressionlessly. While waiting for the police and the ambulance to arrive, Bai Qingxia looked up as if she had sensed something and saw a figure riding a bicycle in the distance. He stood on his legs and pedaled very hard. After Lu Yuanqiu rode to the edge of the crowd, he threw the bicycle aside and quickly squeezed into the crowd, rushing towards Bai Qingxia, who was sitting on the edge of the flower bed. He was sweating profusely, half knelt in front of Bai Qingxia, and looked the girl up and down with his eyes. Bai Qingxia was holding the unconscious Chi Chow Chow. When she saw Lu Yuanqiu appear, her tense mood finally relaxed. "I'm fine. I just sent you a message to tell you about the situation." Lu Yuanqiu took out his cell phone to check. He lowered his head and held his forehead for a long time, panting. "I was so busy riding my bike that I didn't see it." After saying that, he sat down on the flower bed next to Bai Qingxia, covering his cheeks with his hands, and he couldn't recover. When he rode his bike to the F seat, Lu Yuanqiu saw a crowd of people and a security car around. At that moment, his back was numb, and he almost thought that the two words Qiuqiu would become the last warmth left by Bai Qingxia in his memory. This feeling is simply indescribable. Fortunately, nothing happened. "Dad, why did you answer the phone just now?" Lu Wanchun, who was standing by, finally got through to his father and cried in a voice full of resentment. "I'm in trouble, help me deal with it." Lu Wanchun had no tears on his face, but he still spoke in a crying voice. Lu Yuanqiu turned his head and asked Bai Qingxia, "What happened to her?" "The man was kicked down by Chun Chun." "Awesome. First Municipal Hospital." Lu Yuanqiu, Bai Qingxia, Lu Wanchun and Su Miaomiu stood in the hospital corridor, looking at the police uncle standing in front of them. After asking, he said it was her stepfather, who happened to be working in Zhucheng, so he came to see her. The uncle in uniform said. Su Miaomiu frowned. "Chi Chow Chow has so many injuries on his body, we can't let him go." The police uncle was about to respond when a doctor suddenly appeared and waved at them with a serious expression. Chapter 416. We briefly checked the patient Chi's injuries, and found that he was in a particularly serious condition. The doctor spoke with a serious face. Several people, including the police uncle, came to the office together. Lu Yuanqiu walked behind and closed the door. The doctor took off his mask. It was a middle-aged woman. She frowned and hesitated for a long time. She looked up and said, "Does she have other relatives? Do you have the contact information of her parents?" No one spoke. No one knew. Bai Qingxia suddenly spoke in a small voice. "She seems to have a grandmother. Her stepfather said so." Stepfather. The doctor muttered these two words and asked, "Grandmother? Or is it her stepfather's mother?" Bai Qingxia shook her head. "I don't know." The police officer looked at Su Miaomiu at this time, and Su Miaomiu also shook her head. "I don't know either. I called Director Su to ask." The doctor looked up. "Wait a minute. Let me tell you about the situation first. She sat at the table with her fingers crossed and said, we gave Chi Chow Chow a comprehensive examination, and the skin injuries on her body are nothing. 10 minutes later, several people left the office and stood outside the door. Everyone was silent. Bai Qingxia slowly lowered her head and clenched her sleeves tightly with her 10 fingers. Suddenly, in her mind, she saw Chi Chow Chow holding her hand from behind, and the words she said timidly and with a little expectation, I want to play with you. Bai Qingxia raised her hand to wipe her tears, and then a voice came from her ear, let's go see her. Lu Yuanqiu said to her. As the two were about to leave, Lu Wanchun suddenly lost her guard. She looked at the policeman angrily. Where is that beast? Calm down first. This requires Chi Chow Chow to testify personally. If she doesn't testify, she can't be convicted. People around her shouldn't watch her being bullied. There is only one possibility. She has never told anyone about this and has remained silent, so the other party has been able to take advantage of her. The uncle analyzed and spoke. Bai Qingxia thought of the scene where Chi Chow Chow didn't say a word at the beginning, and was led by the guy obediently. If this girl hadn't turned back to look at her halfway. If she hadn't turned back, Bai Qingxia felt that she wouldn't have taken that step bravely, even though she had already noticed something wrong in Chi Cao Cao's eyes. Lu Wanchun took a deep breath and said nothing more. She called her father and slammed the door. Lu Yuanqiu took Bai Qingxia out of the office and came to Chi Cao Cao's ward. The two gently pushed the door open. Chi Chow Chow had woken up. She was sitting on the bed, still holding her legs with her arms, her body curled up into a small ball. This sitting posture seemed to be her shell. The window in the ward was open. Chi Chow Chow tilted her head and stared blankly at the curtains that were blown up and down by the wind. It was evening, and the sunlight outside the window was a brilliant golden color. However, the golden sunlight had tried its best to get into the window, but it still couldn't shine on the girl on the bed. Chi Chow Chow was very sensitive to sound. She noticed the light footsteps of Lu Yuanqiu and the others. She quickly turned her head and looked over with her eyes under her messy hair. After seeing that it was Bai Qingxia, Chi Chow Chow raised her head and smiled, but Bai Qingxia stood by the bed with tears flowing non-stop. Seeing this scene, Chi Cao Cao's smile disappeared again, her big eyes blinked, she quickly put her legs down, reached into her pants pocket, and took out a pack of tissues with cartoon patterns. Chi Chow Chow reached out her hand and handed the tissue to Bai Qingxia. The tissues seemed to be illuminated by the golden light outside the window. Chi Chow Chow, wipe! It was still the same two words, and the same small and gentle voice, exactly the same as what was said in the Ringjian fireworks restaurant. Bai Qingxia took the pack of tissues, sat on the bed, took out a piece from it, and wiped her tears. Seeing this, Chi Chow Chow smiled with satisfaction. She immediately crawled over and sat next to Bai Qingxia with her thin body. The two white legs with bruises under her shorts were still hanging on the bed and swinging leisurely. But although her body was close to Bai Qingxia, Chi Chow Chow didn't dare to really lean on Bai Qingxia, just like she didn't dare to hold Bai Qingxia's hand at first. Bai Qingxia raised her arm and hugged Chi Cao Cao's shoulders, letting her body stick to her. Chi Chow Chow closed her eyes, and a smile appeared on her little face under her messy hair, as if she was recalling some warm moments from a long time ago. Lu Yuanqiu took out his mobile phone and walked to the other side of Chi Chow Chow. When he noticed Lu Yuanqiu coming, Chi Chow Chow opened her eyes and timidly shrank towards Bai Qingxia. Seeing this scene, Lu Yuanqiu paused, spread his hands, smiled and said, It's okay, it's okay. Do you want to listen to my song? You shouldn't have been here yesterday, right? After that, he tried to sit down half a meter away from Chi Chow Chow, then opened his mobile phone, found the video someone uploaded to the internet yesterday, and handed the phone to Chi Chow Chow. Chi Cao Cao's eyes suddenly lit up, and she pointed at the screen of the phone. She was pointing at Bai Qingxia, who was sitting on the truck. So beautiful, Chi Chow Chow said, and then pointed at her head, as if to say that Bai Qingxia had feathers on her head this time. Bai Qingxia whispered, Thank you. The phone was placed on Chi Cao Cao's legs, and Lu Yuanqiu's singing lingered in the ward. The backs of the three people divided the golden sunlight outside the window into three shadows gradually approaching on the bed. The next day, Monday. In classroom 303, Bai Qingxia turned her head, and the seat next to her was empty. Lu Yuanqiu patted the back of her hand and said to her, You cook some noodles at noon today, and I will ride my bike with you to deliver it to her together? Bai Qingxia smiled and nodded, Okay. There was only one class in the morning. After class, Su Miaomiu called Lu Yuanqiu and Bai Qingxia to the office. Lu Yuanqiu did not tell Zheng Yifeng, Zhong Jincheng and others about this matter. This was something Chi Chow Chow would rather endure for so many years without saying it, so he would naturally not say it. But Su Miaomiao told him a bad thing in the office. Chow Chow said nothing, and was unwilling to identify. If you asked too much, she would scream or bite people. She was particularly uncooperative. Su Miaomiao sighed for a long time. Lu Yuanqiu couldn't help asking, what is the situation in her home? Bai Qingxiao's two hands pressed hard on the desk, and she also cast a concerned look. Chapter 417. Coach Su found her grandmother's phone number. It was her grandmother who sent her here on the first day of school. Her grandmother is over 80 years old this year. She opened a small store in her hometown. Su Miaomiao walked towards the office door while speaking, checked whether it was closed tightly, and then continued. Cao Cao's biological father died early, and her mother remarried. At that time, Cao Cao was only 6 or 7 years old. She was extremely withdrawn at that time, but she showed a high IQ. Her personality had improved a little, and then her stepfather appeared. Lu Yuanqiu frowned. Did her grandmother say that? Su Miaomiao, her grandmother doesn't know. Cao Cao didn't tell anyone. Her grandmother just said that Cao Cao's personality was about to get better, but she suddenly became very withdrawn. I made this inference. I dare not tell the old lady about this. She is so old. Bai Qingxiao couldn't help but ask, what about her mother? Su Miaomiao leaned against the table and said, her mother favors boys over girls. After she and her stepfather gave birth to a son, she ignored her and was particularly cold. Her mother thought Cao Cao was a burden. Lu Yuanqiu, her grandmother is so old, doesn't Chi Chow Chow have any uncles? Yes, her grandmother has 3 sons in total. Her father is her grandmother's youngest son, her eldest uncle has many children at home, and the pressure of life is great. He works outside, and has to rely on her grandmother to help take care of the children. The second uncle is still single, and the second uncle has to rely on the grandmother's small store to support him. I heard that the grandmother's small store is just a small store in the village, and it is very small. Lu Yuanqiu lowered his head. Her grandmother still loves Chi Chow Chow very much. Under such circumstances, she bought a computer for Chi Chow Chow. Su Miaomiao nodded. So I said that this kind of thing can't be told to the elderly. Maybe her grandmother is the only one in the world who truly loves her. Her grandmother bought it secretly without telling her 2 sons, as a reward for her granddaughter to be admitted because of winning a prize in the competition. Lu Yuanqiu nodded silently, and suddenly sneered. So her mother and her stepfather didn't pay a penny. Such a powerful daughter, if it was Lu Yidong. Lu Yuanqiu compared the 2 girls in his heart, and his nose was inexplicably sour, and he didn't say anything. If Lu Yidong was like this, her family would spoil her to the extreme, picking stars and moons for her, and even spoiling Lu Wanchun more than Lu Wanchun's father did. Su Miaomiao said at this time, her grandmother should be in Zhucheng at noon today. Go to the hospital to see her. I only said that she fell and was hospitalized, and didn't say anything else. At noon, Bai Qingxiao was carrying 2 bowls of noodles, and Lu Yuanqiu took her to the first municipal hospital on a bicycle. As soon as they left the school gate, Lu Yuanqiu stopped and snatched the 2 bowls of noodles from her, and hung them on the handlebars. If you keep going like this, not only will you lose your face, you will also fall down. Lu Yuanqiu turned back to the girl and said, hold my waist, quickly. Bai Qingxiao looked down at the 5 locks hanging on the car, her lips curled slightly, and she obediently opened her arms, and hugged Lu Yuanqiu's waist. Why did you buy so many locks? Of course, this car is so expensive. I was so sad when it fell yesterday. It's not bad, only 1,500 yuan. Bai Qingxiao whispered. Lu Yuanqiu smiled. Okay, then I sell this bike to the scrap yard tonight. Bai Qingxiao pouted and stopped talking. Lu Yuanqiu noticed her silence and laughed even louder. You're a tsundere, right? I'm an honest man who specializes in dealing with tsunderes. Just focus on riding your bike. Bai Qingxiao saw a car passing by quickly, and said something in the back. Lu Yuanqiu then said, by the way, I saw someone in your forum today saying that you were so brave yesterday and took the initiative to stand up and fight against evil. Bai Qingxiao blinked in surprise. She didn't know. She hadn't checked her own forum yet. Since the welcome party, many people have posted in the forum asking her about various things. Bai Qingxiao felt very annoyed, a bit like those boys who handed her love letters in high school. She didn't know how to deal with it, so she secretly went to see how Senior Shirling dealt with it. She found that Senior Shirling ignored these posts, so she also learned to ignore them. After Lu Yuanqiu said this, Bai Qingxiao freed one hand to open her phone and looked at it. Sure enough, she found. Bai Qingxiao bar. There was a post showing yesterday's photo, which was a photo of her and her stepfather fighting over the pool of grass. The people in the forum didn't know that the middle-aged man was her stepfather. They just thought he was a bad guy, so they thought she was very brave. Now thinking back, Bai Qingxia really felt that she was very brave. Because of her experience, she was very cherishing her life. Generally, when she encountered something that might put her in a dangerous situation, she would choose to avoid it if possible, walk around it, and ignore it, but this time she bravely took action. Lu Yuanqiu turned around. Weren't you afraid at that time? Bai Qingxia didn't answer. Now thinking back, the moment she rushed forward yesterday, the picture that emerged in her mind was the picture of the big bad wolf protecting the big stupid bear at the gate of number 65 middle school. She is becoming more and more like Lu Yuanqiu. Lu Yuanqiu turned around. Why don't you say anything? Bai Qingxia hugged her arms tighter. Concentrate on riding your bike. When the two arrived at the hospital, they happened to meet an elderly man standing by the bed and wiping Qi Cao Cao's arm with a towel. The old lady had a hunched back, white hair, deep wrinkles on her face, and skin that seemed to be sagging, but she was very energetic, but her eyes were full of heartache when she looked at her granddaughter. Heartless, heartless. The old lady wiped and cursed at the same time. Lu Yuanqiu knew that the old lady was worried about the bruises on her granddaughter's arm. Qi Cao Cao, who was sitting on the bed, had changed a lot today. The main reason was that her hair, which had been messy for more than a month, was tied up today. It was combed into two beautiful ponytails at the back of her head, and tied with a pink rubber band with a bow. It was obviously her grandmother's masterpiece. The two walked in with noodles. When they saw Bai Qingxia, Qi Cao Cao smiled. With her hair tied up, she looked fresh and cute, with a round face and very beautiful. Lu Yuanqiu introduced himself and helped Bai Qingxia introduce herself. When she heard that they were classmates, Grandma greeted them enthusiastically. It is worth being happy that Qi Cao Cao did not hide when she saw Lu Yuanqiu today. Maybe for her, there are two solid umbrellas of protection today. Lu Yuanqiu took the opportunity to reach out and rub her head. The little girl did not hide, but she did not smile. She was still a little timid. Lu Yuanqiu was smiling, but his expression was stunned. He saw a shallow arc-shaped wound on the back of Qi Cao Cao's white neck, very light, very light. Is this the reason why she is used to letting her hair down? It was bitten with teeth. Chapter 418. Looking at the tooth mark that is faded, Lu Yuanqiu instinctively curled up his 5 fingers beside Qi Cao Cao's head and clenched them into a fist. He frowned tightly, and his mood was really broken at this moment. To be honest, he has lost a lot of the blood and energy of his youth after his rebirth, and he no longer has the mindless impulsiveness of the past. Yes, Bai Qingxia is changing, and he has changed too. Now he only cares about Bai Qingxia. It's strange, it seems that the more experience you have, the less willing you are to interfere in other people's affairs. So when he heard Qi Cao Cao's story yesterday, he did have sympathy, anger, and pity, but he was not willing to risk his life for this little girl. But now, he remembered what he said when he first discovered the little girl's injuries during military training. Some things can be managed, some things can't be managed, and some things must be managed at all costs. What's wrong? Bai Qingxia's voice suddenly came from the side, and she leaned over. Lu Yuanqiu's hand trembled, and he quickly grabbed the little girl's ponytail and played with it around her neck, and smiled. It's okay, this ponytail is really beautiful. Logically speaking, the little girl should have resisted Lu Yuanqiu's behavior, but she just looked at Lu Yuanqiu and Bai Qingxia obediently, as if she understood what Lu Yuanqiu was covering up for her. The cell phone rang at this time, and Lu Yuanqiu hurriedly said to Bai Qingxia, "Let Cao Cao and Grandma eat noodles quickly." "Is there any for me too?" Grandma asked in surprise. Lu Yuanqiu smiled. "I brought you an extra portion." After he said that, he took the cell phone and left the ward, closing the door. The person who called was Lu Wanchun. "Lu Wanchun, where are you now?" "I'm in the hospital." "What happened?" Lu Yuanqiu came to the window in the corridor. He looked at the scenery outside the window. The midday sun shone on his body and felt warm. "Is Xia Xia with you?" "No, she is in the ward with Cao Cao." "I came out." "Are you looking for her?" "No, I'm looking for you." "My father came to Zhucheng. He told me that he would mobilize all his connections to investigate the man and hire the best lawyer to sentence the man to the highest sentence. But the premise is that Cao Cao must personally testify that it was her stepfather who did it, otherwise it will be a bit troublesome." Lu Yuanqiu nodded. "I find a way. By the way, do I need to ask my third uncle to intervene in this matter?" As soon as he finished speaking, a thunderous sound suddenly came from the other side of the phone. It was Lu Qingya's voice. What the hell? What Lu Qingya, want to do? Who wants to do it? There's nothing I can't do. Stay away from you Lu family. Don't interfere in my business. I take care of this matter. Lu Yuanqiu was stunned for a moment. So Uncle Lu, you are here. Lu Yuanqiu could actually imagine why Lu Qingya was so angry. If it were his 3 uncles, they would probably be the same, because they all had daughters. Also, Lu Wanchun, I saw a tooth mark on the back of Cao Cao's neck. Lu Yuanqiu sighed, and said with his hand on the windowsill. Lu Wanchun didn't speak for a long time after hearing this. There seemed to be a quarrel on the other end of the phone. After Lu Yuanqiu waited quietly for a moment, Lu Wanchun took the phone again with a trembling voice, crying with a bit of determination, Lu Yuanqiu. My father said that he would fight for an hour today so that we can meet that beast alone. Do you dare to come? Dare. Okay, I pick you up at the school gate at 7 p.m. Lu Yuanqiu put down the phone, leaned his upper body against the windowsill, and stood there for a long time. He closed his eyes and raised his head to greedily enjoy the sunlight in 2011. From this moment on, he was more determined to protect Bai Qingxia and prevent her from being infected by any darkness in the world. Rebirth is really a magical thing. Lu Yuanqiu looked at the blue sky reflected on the tall buildings opposite and repeated this sentence in his heart more than once. After a long time, he walked into the ward and saw Qi Chaoqiao lying on the bed and sleeping. She was very well behaved and peaceful. Bai Qingxia and Grandma were sitting beside the bed and talking quietly. Seeing Lu Yuanqiu coming in, Bai Qingxia smiled and turned around, and waved to him quickly. Lu Yuanqiu sat next to her and whispered, "What's wrong?" He stretched his head, and saw that it was Grandma, who was showing Bai Qingxia a photo on her phone. At this moment, it happened to be a photo of Qi Cao competition certificate. Grandma kept flipping her fingers. The old lady's photography skills were not good, and the photos were crooked. It seemed that she didn't know how to delete them, so she took a lot of photos until the angles of the photos became more and more standard. It can be seen that Qi Cao is really the pride of Grandma. What a great child. Grandma's face was kind, and she was smiling. Lu Yuanqiu and Bai Qingxia were close to each other, and were also quiet, watching Grandma constantly flipping through the phone with her dry fingers. Suddenly, Grandma's hand stopped, and she found a photo of a man holding Qi Cao. The man's eyes looked like Qi Cao, and he smiled brightly. Qi Cao in the photo seemed to be just over 1 year old and chubby. Grandma suddenly spoke in an old voice. That year, there was an accident at the construction site, and he passed away so young. She didn't say anything more. Lu Yuanqiu pursed his lips, and squeezed Bai Qingxia's shoulders. He could feel Bai Qingxia leaning towards him. Maybe the little girl was thinking of many memories about herself at this moment. Grandma continued to flip her phone. At this time, a composition paper appeared on the phone. The angle of this photo was very standard. Grandma explained, "This was taken by myself with my phone when I was packing up more than a month ago." It was a composition she wrote in the 1st grade. She said she wanted to keep it forever with Grandma's phone. Lu Yuanqiu took it, looked at the childish words on it, and suddenly laughed. 1st grade? It is a bit like it. The title is The Waterweed Family in the Pond. Once upon a time, there was a pond, and there were many creatures living in the pond, including Waterweed Father, Waterweed Mother, Waterweed Baby, Handsome Mr. Frog, Angry Miss Octopus. The composition has several pages in total. It is a small story with childish writing, but it is very warm to read. The 6-year-old child really has a wild imagination. Lu Yuanqiu thought for a moment and said, "Grandma, I'll leave you my phone number." Okay, I don't know how to leave it, young man, help me get it," the old lady said quickly. Lu Yuanqiu added Grandma's contact, and sent the pages of composition in Grandma's phone to his own phone. Grandma suddenly muttered, "It's this composition, she wrote it in the 1st grade that year. I still remember that she was praised by the teacher in public after she wrote it hastily. She took it home to show her mother. I forgot why, but the woman was angry and tore her composition paper into pieces. She came to me crying, and I glued the pieces back together." Lu Yuanqiu did see a lot of adhesive tape on the paper. "By the way, where can I pay the child's medical expenses? I don't quite understand. Can you take me there?" Grandma suddenly stood up, and took out a red plastic bag folded into a square from her waist. Lu Yuanqiu was about to say, "I pay for you," but Bai Qingxia had already held Grandma's hand, and said gently, "I've already paid." Chapter 419. Lu Yuanqiu stared at Bai Qingxia's profile in a daze. He knew that Bai Qingxia had not paid, but since she said so, she must have made up her mind to take the initiative to bear the cost. Our Xia is now. Lu Yuanqiu smiled and said nothing. Bai Qingxiao looked back at Lu Yuanqiu, and she lied, not being very good at lying. I'm going to the toilet. After she finished speaking, she stood up and walked towards the door with her head down. Qi Chao will be discharged from the hospital tonight, and there is actually not much cost. After returning to school, Lu Yuanqiu told Zheng Yifeng some things, and politely declined Chao Shuang's invitation to have dinner with him, and then went to the east gate of the school alone to wait. As autumn approached again, Lu Yuanqiu wore a black jacket, a hat, a mask, and headphones, and played a piano accompaniment of maple on his phone. He put his hands in his pockets, stood in the night, and waited for Lu Qingye's car in the cool breeze. Soon, a black car stopped in front of him. Lu Yuanqiu looked at the license plate, waved, and then sat in the back of the car. The driver didn't speak, and Lu Yuanqiu didn't speak either. He closed his eyes, and listened quietly to the music in his headphones. The car drove for nearly an hour. Lu Yuanqiu looked out the window, and found that the car was parked near an unfinished building. The area around was not deserted, but it was very quiet, and full of construction waste. After getting off the car, a bodyguard in a black suit, with a burly figure and a hard face came over. He stretched out his hand into the unfinished building and said, "Master Lu, please." Lu Yuanqiu nodded and walked in with his hands in his pockets. He paused and found that there were 5 black cars parked downstairs. Lu Qingye was wearing a black windbreaker, leaning against a car and talking to a middle-aged man, while Lu Wanchun was sitting quietly in the car. When he saw Lu Yuanqiu arrive, Lu Wanchun got out of the car quickly, and Lu Qingye turned around. "1 hour, you can teach him a lesson, but don't let him die." The middle-aged man who was talking to Lu Qingye spoke in a Zhucheng accent. Lu Qingye put out his cigarette and glanced at him. "At most, I can donate dozens of buildings to your Zhucheng. I know you have money, so let's get it over with. Hurry up." After the two finished talking, the middle-aged man sat in the car, and Lu Qingye smiled and walked forward to pat Lu Yuanqiu on the shoulder. "Stinky boy, I didn't expect that we would meet again and not play basketball." Lu Yuanqiu said, "Uncle Lu?" Lu Qingye nodded and waved to the side. A bodyguard brought 2 steel pipes. Seeing that his father and Lu Yuanqiu were holding one each and were about to enter the building, Lu Wanchun was anxious. "What about me?" Lu Qingye frowned. "You are a girl, why do you do this? Go back to the car." "Lu Qingye, you bastard, you're going back on your word, aren't you?" Lu Wanchun shouted angrily. Seeing that his precious daughter was about to explode, Lu Qingye was so scared that he quickly waved to the security guard. The security guard handed over another steel pipe and timidly handed it to Lu Wanchun. "Miss." The tycoon with businesses all over the north and south is most afraid of his own daughter. Lu Qingye's bodyguards all know it, but they never dare to discuss it. After Lu Wanchun got the steel pipe, she did something that Lu Yuanqiu dared not even think about. She first slapped her father on the body, and then walked into the building first in anger. Seeing Lu Yuanqiu's gaze, Lu Qingye pulled the corner of his mouth awkwardly. "Alas, I owed her in my last life, and I can't repay her in this life." The 3 of them came into the building. With the light from the distant building, Lu Yuanqiu saw the bodyguard standing next to him, and the man kneeling on the ground. The man was still wearing the clothes he wore that day, and his whole body was shaking uncontrollably at this moment. Obviously, he had realized that he was in big trouble, but he had no idea who these people were. Lu Qingye was wearing a black windbreaker, and he took the second cigarette from his mouth and flicked it to the side, splashing sparks on the ground. He squatted in front of the man, with his back to the moonlight, and his facial contours were dark. "Do you know who you have offended?" Lu Qingye asked, blowing smoke at the man. At this moment, Lu Yuanqiu suddenly found that Uncle Lu, who liked playing basketball, but was always beaten by him, was actually quite handsome. I don't know, I won't dare to do it again." The man apologized quickly and cowed out quickly. Lu Qingye smiled. "I thought you were tougher, it's really boring." Screams soon rang out in the unfinished building. Lu Qingye's scolding was also constantly mixed in. Lu Yuanqiu didn't say a word, he just did what he should do. Some things can be managed, and some things cannot be managed. Some things must be managed even if it costs one's life. He was reborn and risked his life. In this world, he was not afraid of anything except Bai Qingxiao. Bang! Lu Yuanqiu swung the stick hard on the man's mouth, and then, with a clang, he dropped the stick on the ground. He took out a cigarette box from Lu Qingye's pocket, took out a cigarette, and walked to the bodyguard to smoke. Looking at Lu Yuanqiu, Lu Qingye asked his daughter in confusion, "Why doesn't this kid say a word?" Lu Wanchun ignored her father and remained silent. She looked at the man who was curled up on the ground and motionless. She kicked him again, and swung the stick to hit him on the head. Lu Qingye quickly stopped her. Okay, little ancestor, that's enough. He's useless. After stopping his daughter, Lu Qingye said to the bodyguard next to him, tell them to hire the best doctor for this guy. I will pay for all the medical expenses, so that he can appear in court alive later. By the way, what is the name of this beast? The bodyguard was about to speak, but Lu Yuanqiu, who had been silent for a long time, suddenly said, no need to tell his name. Lu Wanchun heard this and looked at Lu Yuanqiu, but heard this usually laughing and joking boy who liked to be a jerk say, we don't need to know his name. Anyway, he will no longer exist in this world, just like he never appeared. Lu Wanchun stared at the shadow of the face under the brim of the hat for a moment, and also said, yes. Then don't tell it. Lu Qingye looked at his daughter, with a well-behaved expression, very obedient. After coming out of the unfinished building, Lu Yuanqiu and Lu Wanchun sat in the same car. He turned to Lu Wanchun and said, by the way, I have something to tell you. The next day, Tuesday. In the morning's ideological and moral education class, a female teacher with short hair, a suit, and a bit of a cool temperament walked into the classroom, and saw that there were several fewer people in the classroom. Under normal circumstances, she would ask the class cadres if anyone had skipped class. But this time she didn't ask because instructor Su Wenqiang had already informed them in advance. In the evening, Lu Yuanqiu and Bai Qingxia took a taxi to the hospital to pick up Qi Chaoqiao. Lu Yuanqiu looked back from the passenger seat. Qi Chaoqiao was wearing a beautiful white dress that Bai Qingxia had bought for her. Bai Qingxia was also wearing that white dress today. The little girl was crossing her legs at the moment, turning her head to look at the sunset outside the car window. The golden light also reflected her little face into gold, and her eyelashes were shining like Bai Qingxia's eyelashes. Why is Cao Cao unhappy? Lu Yuanqiu asked in a cute voice. Qi Chaoqiao turned her head and looked at him, but didn't say anything. But after 2 days of getting along, she was no longer afraid of Lu Yuanqiu. Bai Qingxia explained to Lu Yuanqiu, because grandma went home. Ah. Lu Yuanqiu nodded, and saw Qi Chaoqiao leaning her head on Bai Qingxia's shoulder. She still had 2 ponytails today, but Bai Qingxia helped her tie them today. Bai Qingxia was very skilled, as if she had tied them often before. By the way, Cao Cao, Sister Bai will take you to a place to play later. Lu Yuanqiu smiled at her mysteriously. Chapter 420. Qi Chaoqiao looked at Lu Yuanqiu again. Although she still didn't say anything, her eyes were brighter. Because after her grandmother passed away, the person she trusted the most was Bai Qingxia, and she always wanted to play games with Bai Qingxia. Any game would do. In fact, in the end, she still hoped that someone could accompany her, and this person must be Bai Qingxia, because Bai Qingxia was good to her, and made her feel very much like her mother before her father passed away. After arriving at the school, the 3 of them went their separate ways. Lu Yuanqiu went to the boys' dormitory, while Bai Qingxia took Qi Chaoqiao to the Ringjian fireworks restaurant. What to do in the restaurant? The little girl was wondering. Bai Qingxia had already brought 2 bowls of noodles from Xiaoyu Wamian. Seeing Bai Qingxia's noodles, she happily raised her feet under the table. This noodle is really delicious. She has eaten it twice. How about dinner first? Bai Qingxia said to her, and raised her hand to rub the little girl's head. Qi Chaoqiao smiled and nodded. Okay. Only when facing Bai Qingxia would she speak and smile. Bai Qingxia had been waiting for her while eating noodles, because Qi Chaoqiao ate a little slowly. When Qi Chaoqiao had almost finished, she started to speed up and finally finished eating with Qi Chaoqiao. Looking at the soup stains at the corners of the little girl's mouth, Bai Qingxia turned around and took out a pack of cartoon-patterned tissues from her bag, opened it, and helped her wipe her mouth. This was stuffed into her by her grandmother before she left. Bai Qingxia didn't know that all the cartoon-patterned tissues on Qi Chaoqiao were given by her grandmother. Seeing this, the little girl also reached out and took out a tissue to wipe Bai Qingxia's mouth. The 2 reached out to wipe each other's mouth, and after a while, they looked at each other and laughed. Bai Qingxia rarely laughed so loudly outside, but this time she wanted to share her happy mood with the little girl in front of her. After they left the restaurant, Bai Qingxia took her to the auditorium, where the welcome party was held a few days ago. Qi Chaoqiao was a little confused and a little scared. The auditorium was very dark, and there was no one in the seats. It seemed that a devil could come out of the gap at any time, but with her sister by her side, she was not so scared. After Bai Qingxia took Qi Chaoqiao to sit in the middle of the first row, she stood quietly aside, as if waiting for something. At this time, in the control room next to the auditorium, Director Su said to a young man beside him, "Hurry up, turn on the lights, we can start. Snap! Chi Chow Chow opened her eyes wide, and bright lights shone on the huge stage in front of her, illuminating the entire stage. Su Miaomia's sweet voice suddenly came from the radio. She seemed to be acting as a narrator, and her voice was as cute as a kindergarten teacher. Once upon a time, there was a pond. There lived many creatures in the pond, and there was a water grass father. Chi Chow Chow opened her eyes wide, turned her head in surprise, and looked at Bai Qingxia next to her. Bai Qingxia smiled at her, but she couldn't help but feel a sore nose. She turned her head away, and didn't dare to look at her eyes. She had clearly prepared for Chi Cao Cao's reaction in advance. The little girl was not in the mood to pay attention to her sister's emotional changes at the moment, because what was read on the radio was the beginning of her previous composition, word for word. Soon, Lu Yuanqiu, with circles of green cardboard wrapped around his body, walked out on the stage with funny movements. He turned sideways and opened his arms, like a drama actor, smiling, and his face was covered with the blazing white light on the stage. I am Shuikeo's father. Su Miaomia's sweet voice continued to sound from the radio, and there is Mother Water Grass. Bai Qingxia wiped away the tears from her eyes, and immediately trotted towards the stage. After taking a circle of green cardboard from the curtain and putting it on her body, she ran to the opposite side of Lu Yuanqiu, also leaning sideways with her arms open. Her posture was much more graceful. Bai Qingxia turned her face to the only audience member sitting in the audience. She looked at her and showed a bright smile on her innocent face. I am Mother Water Grass. The moment she saw Bai Qingxia run onto the stage, Chi Chow Chow could no longer hold back her tears. She sat in the audience and kept crying. Her cry sounded like a child lost in the fog, wiping tears while looking for her mother. The fog was too thick, and she couldn't tell the direction. It seemed like she had been like this for so many years, but today, it seemed that there was a light in front of her guiding her. This light was as bright as the lights on the stage. Then, characters wearing all kinds of cardboard kept lining up to walk out from the side of the stage. Zheng Yifeng was wearing a cardboard with a frog pattern on his body. He said in a gentle voice, I am the handsome Mr. Frog. Lu Wanchun was wearing an octopus cardboard. She put her hands on her hips, puffed her cheeks, and raised her eyebrows. I am the angry Miss Octopus. Finger was wearing a black cardboard and deliberately made a deep voice. I am the fat catfish uncle. Liang Jingfeng was wearing a circle of blue cardboard. He walked out and hesitated for a moment and said, I am a pond. Suddenly, a happy voice came from the side of the stage. It was a girl who was also wearing green cardboard. It was Lu Doqing. She said in a cute voice, I am a watergrass baby, but I have a name. My name is Chi Chow Chow. The narration continued. The big family in the pond lives a carefree and happy life. They play games every day. On the stage, the narration continued. Chi Chow Chow cried, while matching the narration with every word written on the graph paper in her mind. They really rehearsed very hard. Lu Yuanqiu and others happily put their hands on the shoulders of the people in front of them, and drove the train on the stage, watering and playing happily in the pond. Narration. Suddenly one day, a dark monster broke into the pond. He hurt the Mother Water Grass, and the Mother Water Grass fell into a coma. Zhong Jincheng was wearing a black hard cardboard with sharp corners, and he roared, I am a dark monster, I like to eat water grass. He seemed to launch an attack that ordinary people could not see. Bai Qingxia said, Oh dad and baby save me. After she finished speaking, she fell to the ground and pretended to be unconscious. It should have been Lu Yuanqiu's turn to act next, but Lu Yuanqiu just stared at Bai Qingxia blankly, with a rare and emotional smile on his face. Although this acting skill is not praiseworthy, at least Bai Qingxia performed it. It's hard to imagine. This was my socially anxious girl. Why are you standing there? Zhong Jincheng reminded with a wink. Lu Yuanqiu reacted and hurried over to kneel in front of Bai Qingxia, his face close to Bai Qingxia's delicate profile. Bai Qingxia, lying on the ground, quietly opened her eyes a crack, and then slowly closed them. Narrator. Shuiqiao daddy kissed Shuiqiao mommy on the face. Lu Yuanqiu hesitated for a moment, leaned down, and placed a fist above Bai Qingxia's cheek, close enough to smell a faint body fragrance, and made a kissing gesture in the air, with a very light bow. When he raised his face, he saw the girl lying on the ground with her eyelashes trembling twice. Narrator. But Shuiqiao daddy didn't succeed in kissing Shuiqiao mommy awake. At this time, Shuiqiao baby had a way. As soon as the voice fell, Su Miaomia ran out from behind the curtain. She came to the stage and led the crying Chi Chow Chow to the stage, and then asked the little girl, Chow Chow, do you remember how to wake up your mother? Chi Chow Chow sobbed and read the composition she wrote that year, crying, "Borrow a pearl from Mr. Frog." Lu Doqing put the green cardboard on Qi Chao Chao. Su Miaomia led Qi Chao Chao to Zhang Yifeng, who took out a pearl from his body and handed it to her with a gentle expression and nodded to the little girl. Qi Chao Chao continued to cry and said, "Borrow a tentacle from Miss Octopus." After coming to Lu Wanchun's eyes were red, and he gently tore off a piece of red card paper and gave it to her. "Here, baby watergrass." Qi Chao Chao cried, "Thank you." She said again, "Borrow a beard from Uncle Catfish." This time, she didn't need Su Miaomi to lead her. She walked towards Finger by herself. Finger also tore off a piece of black card paper and handed it to her. Lu Yuanqiu said that he would act out a play with Qi Chao Chao, and they agreed without saying a word, because they heard that Qi Chao Chao met a bad guy who broke into the campus. They were all classmates, so they would help if they could, and they were also happy to help. "I just didn't expect Qi Chao Chao to cry like this." But she spoke today, holding the three things in her hand. Qi Chao Chao quickly ran to Bai Qingxia's side, squatted down, and put all three things in her arms. Bai Qingxia opened her eyes, sat up, and said in a gentle voice, "Mom is awake, thank you baby." This is still the line in the composition. Narrator. So with the awakened mother Watergrass, the Watergrass family wrapped the Watergrass around the dark monster and finally eliminated the dark monster. Su Miaomiu suddenly choked up, and Zhang Yifeng turned his head to look at her, his expression thoughtful. Lu Yuanqiu took off the green cardboard and threw it at Zhong Jinqing. Bai Qingxia did the same thing, and both looked down at Qi Chao Chao. Lu Yuanqiu smiled and said, "It's your turn." Bai Qingxia encouraged, "Don't be afraid." Qi Chao Chao cried and nodded, peeled off the shell on her body, and threw it hard at Zhong Jinqing. Zhong Jinqing cooperated very well, and tore the cardboard on his body, and threw it on the ground, then quickly left the stage. Lu Yuanqiu told him to run far away after leaving the stage, and go directly back to the dormitory. Everyone watched this scene quietly, no one spoke, and suddenly, Qi Chao Chao turned around, opened her arms and hugged Bai Qingxia, and burst into tears. Bai Qingxia lowered her head, gently stroked her head, took out the toilet paper with cartoon patterns that she had prepared long ago, and wiped her tears. This pack of tissues was handed to her by Qi Chao Chao on the hospital bed. The next day, Wednesday evening. After finishing a day's class, Lu Yuanqiu sat in his position in the psychological activity room as usual. He propped his chin on his palm and looked at the sunset outside the window. Chao Shuang once said that the moment the sunset fell on his shoulders, he was the Monkey King. "Shuangzi, am I really worthy of being the Monkey King in your heart?" Lu Yuanqiu narrowed his eyes, and suddenly noticed two blurred shadows from the corner of his eyes. He raised his head blankly, and saw Bai Qingxia walking in with Qi Chao Chao. Bai Qingxia had a smile on her face, and raised her hand to touch Qi Cao Cao's head. Qi Chao Chao still had two beautiful ponytails today. She and Bai Qingxia stood together in the golden sunlight, so radiant and moving. "Go ahead," Bai Qingxia said gently. Qi Chao Chao looked at Lu Yuanqiu, clutching the corner of her clothes, and said timidly, "Brother Yuanqiu, I am willing to testify against that person in court." Click. Lu Yuanqiu was stunned, and the pen in his hand suddenly fell on the table. He came back to his senses, looked at the person in front of him, smiled and nodded vigorously. Okay, I know," Bai Qingxia said. "Then I will go to cook noodles first." Lu Yuanqiu nodded again. After they went out, Lu Yuanqiu heard Qi Chao Chao whisper to Bai Qingxia, "Sister, I can help you. I help Grandma cook at home." Bai Qingxia, "Okay." Lu Yuanqiu lowered his head and wrote in the notebook in front of him. 3. October 19th, 2011, Qi Chao Chao, the Watergrass Family in the Pond. Chapter 421. 1 month later, on November 16th, the weather was fine. "If I become rich one day, I will buy all the rare smiles. Let all the poor children no longer be timid, and all the evil people no longer have the right to speak." It was time for the noon class. Lu Yuanqiu hummed a song, put his hands in his pockets like Zhong Jinqing, and walked out of Block A of the men's dormitory with arrogant steps. Zhang Yifeng went back to the dormitory to get his textbooks and chased them out. When Zhang Yifeng appeared, Lu Yuanqiu didn't dare to hum a song because it was not a song from 2011. "This guy is very smart, and seems to have some doubts that I am a reborn person." Lu Yuanqiu glanced at Zhang Yifeng's handsome face. Zhong Jinqing is a bit stupid, forgetting everything after listening. His memory is just like his descendants, and his lifespan is very short. "How many classes are there in the afternoon?" Zhong Jinqing asked. Lu Yuanqiu shook his head. "I don't know, I didn't bring any books." Then what do you read in class? Bai Qingxia. The three of them passed the campus road with yellow sycamore leaves falling, past the basketball court, past the green belt with maple trees, past the library, past the Renjianyanhua restaurant, came to the teaching building, and entered classroom 303. College students seem to be more lifeless than high school seniors, especially in the first class in the morning and the first class in the afternoon. Thingle has been playing Go Bang with the Taoist priest for several days in class. Bai Qingxia seemed to be in the toilet. Her seat was empty, but the book was still there. After Lu Yuanqiu came to her seat, he skillfully snatched the candied haws from Qi Cao hand, bit off one and returned it, chewing towards her in a sly manner. The little girl had neat ponytails tied behind her head. The scars on her skin had completely disappeared. She blinked her round eyes, and looked at Lu Yuanqiu. After a while, she didn't say anything and continued to open her mouth to eat. Lu Yuanqiu heard that Qi Cao would swear when playing games, but she would only swear when playing games. However, he could not go to the girls' dormitory, otherwise he would really like to hear it. Bai Qingxia walked into the classroom at this time. She was wearing the same pink jacket, and the same single ponytail today. After sitting back in her seat, she took out a new candied haws from the hole in the table, and handed it to Lu Yuanqiu, smiling and saying, "This is bought for you." Lu Yuanqiu was stunned, looking at his own candied haws, and then looked at Qi Cao's candied haws. "Forget it, give it to her. I just snatched hers and ate it." Bai Qingxia, ? Lu Yuanqiu, Qi Cao looked over, with red candy stains on the corners of her mouth. She didn't think there was anything wrong with Lu Yuanqiu's behavior. It's a happy thing to have someone buy you candied haws to eat. Why care about how many candied haws there are on it? At this time, Zheng with buck teeth and Su Miaomio walked into the classroom. Zheng Yifeng looked up, and Finger quickly put away the Go Bang chess and sat upright with the Taoist priest. Speaking of two departments, Bucktooth Chan leaned against the edge of the podium and continued, "First of all, the CT4 exam is less than a month away. Everyone should prepare actively. Also, if I remember correctly, Song Fanfang should be the only one in the department who needs to prepare for the CT6 exam, right?" Finger nodded, smiling with the corners of his mouth down, looking very proud. "Yes." During college, when everyone else took the CT4, he was the only one who took the CT6, which was very impressive. But it won't last long. Next time, everyone in the class has passed the CT4 and CT6, but he is still on the way to the CT6. Lu Yuanqiu turned his head. He almost forgot what Finger's real name was. Bucktooth Chan continued, "The second thing is that other departments started to organize class team building last month, but we haven't. They have many classes, and each department is led by their own class leaders. We only have 2 classes. I discussed with Director Su, and decided that the 2 of us will each lead a class to organize a team building on this weekend." Su Miaomia continued, "There are 2 ways. The first is to directly book a large private room for a meal, and everyone pays for the meal. The other is to camp outdoors, but you need to buy a tent at your own expense, and the dormitory is the unit." Zhong Jincheng's sleepy eyes suddenly brightened. "Are you going to spend the night outside?" Su Miaomia nodded. "Spend the night on Saturday and come back on Sunday afternoon." She paused after she finished speaking, as if she had known the result long ago, and asked an unnecessary question with a funny expression. "So, which one do you choose?" A second later, a deafening roar came from the entire classroom 303, camping in the wild. The boys' ferocious expressions seemed to be collectively mutated. Su Miaomia, "Okay, everyone remember to pay the tent fee, food fee and travel fee." The uncle raised his hand. "How much do you want to pay?" Su Miaomia, "First pay 200 yuan, the extra will be counted as class fee, and the monitors of the 2 classes will be responsible for collecting it." The uncle swallowed his saliva, and silently glanced at Bai Qingxia. A month has passed, but the salary has not been paid yet. Bucktooth Chan clapped his hands. "There is one last thing. I just said that Director Su and I each lead a class, and the camping locations are different. Which class wants me to lead?" There was complete silence. Bucktooth Chan looked around, and every molecule in the air seemed to reveal embarrassment. He quickly pointed at someone and widened his eyes. "Good, very good. I saw Li Qingyang from class 29 raised his hand, so I will lead class 29. Everyone in class 29 turned around, and found that Li Qingyang was just raising his hand to pull the curtain next to him. He himself was confused. Su Miaomia hugged her hand cutely beside her cheek. "Then I will lead class 30. Lu Yuanqiu pushed his back against the table, and Zheng Yifeng staggered back, and almost fell to the ground. Lu Yuanqiu quickly turned around. "Why are you so excited, class leader?" Zheng Yifeng, Bai Qingxia smiled secretly, but she found that Su Miaomia just glanced over here, with no extra expression on her face. Since the welcome party, teacher Miaomia seemed to be very cold to Zhang Yifeng, and Bai Qingxia noticed this. Su Miaomia, Lu Yuanqiu, come to my office after class. Su Miaomia's tone became cold when she said this. Lu Yuanqiu, okay teacher. Zhang Yifeng looked up silently. He was not in a hurry. After class, Lu Yuanqiu left his seat and went to Su Miaomia's office, while Zhang Yifeng stood up and took a paper form and went to each student in order according to their student numbers and began to collect money. Bai Qingxia handed over 400 yuan with both hands and said to Zhang Yifeng, "This is for Lu Yuanqiu and me, I paid for him." Zhang Yifeng nodded, took the money and left, and drew a mark behind the two people on the form. The Taoist priest also paid the money. After paying, he saw the uncle's embarrassed look, so he looked up at Zhang Yifeng and said, "I help you advance 200 yuan first." The uncle hurriedly thanked the Taoist priest. He had no savings and did not ask his family for money. All his living expenses were earned from part-time jobs, but he had almost spent it all. Bai Qingxia had not received any money yet. "Xiu Xia, our salary?" the uncle asked carefully. Chapter 422. Bai Qingxia sat up straight, resting her hands on her thighs, and said respectfully and apologetically, "I'm sorry, it was supposed to be issued last night, but I just found out that it can be exchanged for whole bills. I just went to exchange it this morning, and it will be issued at noon today." It was Lu Yuanqiu who reminded her to exchange whole bills, because he saw Bai Qingxia stupidly counting the change in the restaurant last night, which gave him a headache. The uncle laughed and waved his hands repeatedly. "No hurry, no hurry." Gurgle. The uncle's stomach growled. Bai Qingxia looked down, then looked up at him. The uncle scratched his head and smiled awkwardly. Instructor's office. Lu Yuanqiu walked in and closed the door. Su Miaomia sat down, adjusted her mood, and then said to Lu Yuanqiu, "Do you know that the school is going to shoot a promotional video?" "I think I heard about it a month ago." Su Miaomia nodded. The school invited a young director to come and shoot two couples, but real couples may not have a good image, so they may have to choose two pairs of men and women with decent images to play couples. Lu Yuanqiu suddenly shrank his neck. "Then why are you talking to me about this? Have I been chosen?" "You weren't chosen, you were directly selected." Su Miaomia looked at him. Lu Yuanqiu could probably guess who selected him, but he still raised his eyebrows in surprise. "I haven't been an actor, I can't act." "There's nothing to test your acting skills. It's just the daily life of a campus couple." "Do you want to choose Bai Qingxia as your partner?" Lu Yuanqiu smiled. "Do I still have the right to choose my partner?" "Yes." "Are there kissing scenes?" "Yes, but it was probably shot out of position. You should have seen that kind of scene where the camera blurs when they are about to kiss." "Are there passionate scenes?" Bang! Su Miaomia slammed the table and stared at him. Lu Yuanqiu was so scared that he raised his feet and hands to prevent being hit. "A university campus promotional film. What are you thinking about?" Lu Yuanqiu quickly pressed his hands down with a serious expression to calm her down. But if they had to act, he would definitely choose Bai Qingxia, but he couldn't make the decision for Bai Qingxia. "I have to ask her if she agrees. If she doesn't, then I won't shoot it." Lu Yuanqiu spread his hands. Su Miaomia frowned. "Why don't you agree? It's okay to shoot a promotional video to increase your popularity. I see that your popularity has slowed down. After this month, the popularity of Yanggu String Band has reached over 15,000, and the actual value is 15,352, ranking in the top 10 campus bands. But the speed is getting slower and slower. After a month of screening, the daily increase is only about 150, and the growth rate can be steadily ranked in the top 3 of the band list. The 150 new members were also added daily thanks to Lu Yuanqiu posting some photos of the band's daily life, especially those of Zhang Yifeng, which whetted the appetite of these people. Liang Jingfeng originally proposed to occasionally perform on the playground after school to increase popularity, but was vetoed by Lu Yuanqiu. This method was feasible before, but not now. The last playground show was still amazing in many people's minds, and amazing has become the label of Yanggu String Band from now on. The next time they appear, they must be amazed once again, so that they can continue to have an intracranial orgasm. If they perform on the playground every day, there will be no mystery, and the next grand appearance will be much less amazing. Just like stars who often participate in comedy variety shows are easy to distract people in dramas or movies, and the sense of immersion is greatly reduced. Lu Yuanqiu has paid special attention to the fact that Yulua Band basically does not perform on weekdays, so they intentionally or unintentionally keep a sense of distance from fans. Yulua Band's daily increase is still strong, 500 unshakable, sometimes even up to 600, and the total popularity has now reached 46,000, as difficult to shake as a mountain. As for the Baiqingxia bar, because Shirling has a relatively large number of fixed old fans, Baiqingxia can only barely maintain the same daily increase as Shirling with Xia E1 noodles. It is not possible to surpass Shirling in total popularity for the time being. The current cumulative popularity of Baiqingxia bar is 10,358, ranking 5th in the dance category, and Shirling's cumulative popularity has reached 16,000. At present, the growth rates of the two are almost parallel, and Baiqingxia is still difficult to touch Shirling's position, but it will not take long for Baiqingxia to become the second in the dance category, because her growth rate is tied with Shirling for the first place. So what Teacher Su said was right. Baiqingxia might need a promotional video. Maybe the promotion of the promotional video would be like a final push, making her daily increase greater than 0 from now on. Okay, I go back and talk to her. If she disagrees, I persuade her. Su Miaomiao nodded, yeah. Just as Lu Yuanqiu was about to go out, he turned around and asked, has the second couple not been chosen yet? Or have they been chosen? Su Miaomiao raised her head, to be determined. She paused and said, the boy is probably Zheng Yifeng. The director will choose from some popular students. He will definitely see Zheng Yifeng. As for his partner, it is very likely to be Long Liandong. When Su Miaomiao said the last sentence, her eyes suddenly lost focus, then she came back to her senses, looked at Lu Yuanqiu again, and smiled. You go back first. Lu Yuanqiu looked at the young and beautiful female teacher for a second, turned around and opened the door. After school at noon, when the business in the restaurant was quiet, the employees of Xia Yuan Noodles lined up in a long line to receive their wages in front of Baiqingxia. Baiqingxia seemed to be afraid of making mistakes, or maybe she was afraid that someone would rob her, although she wouldn't, so she insisted that Lu Yuanqiu must sit next to her at this time. Lu Yuanqiu held a rolling pin, as if he was the real boss of Xia Yuan Noodles. He pointed to the front and said in a serious voice, with me here, the salary payment process is fair, just and transparent. There were 4 people in the queue, Aunt Su, the uncle, the Taoist priest, and Qi Chao Chao. Qi Chao Chao is currently serving meals in the female dormitory. She said she wanted to reduce the financial burden for her grandmother. Lu Yuanqiu still remembers the day she said this. He and Baiqingxia both laughed. Baiqingxia gave Aunt Su a stack of 6,000 yuan. Seeing this scene, the uncle behind him looked a little envious. When it was the uncle's turn, Baiqingxia gave him 3,000 yuan. Thank you, thank you. The uncle bowed excitedly to thank him. Baiqingxia responded quickly, then gave the Taoist priest 1,600 yuan, and Qi Chao Chao 1,100 yuan. Lu Yuanqiu knew that Baiqingxia still had 16,000 yuan in her bag, which was her remaining money. The Taoist priest looked at the money in his hand, but didn't count it. He just looked at the uncle sitting on the stool, and counting the money happily. He seemed to think of someone, and couldn't help but smile. Qi Chao Chao carefully folded her 1,100 yuan, and jumped happily towards Baiqingxia, showing the innocence she had never shown before. Lu Yuanqiu asked her, do you have a bank card? Qi Chao Chao nodded. Lu Yuanqiu, okay, I take you and sister to the bank to deposit money this afternoon. Thank you, brother Yuanqiu. Qi Chao Chao thanked her in a low voice. Although she could only talk to Lu Yuanqiu and Baiqingxia now, she smiles a lot more than before, and she is the happiest Lu Yuanqiu has seen her in the past month. Perhaps for her, making grandma feel more relaxed is her biggest wish at the moment. Chapter 423. Besides that, today is also Baiqingxia's happiest day. This much money truly belongs to her for the first time. After returning from the bank, Baiqingxia held Qi Cao Cao's hand and crossed the road carefully beside Lu Yuanqiu. How is it? Do you agree with what I just told you? Lu Yuanqiu turned his head. Baiqingxia didn't meet his gaze, but for a moment she didn't know what to look at, so she could only look at Qi Chao Chao next to her. Qi Chao Chao raised her head, her raised little face looked gossipy, as if she had guessed what her sister was thinking. Baiqingxia suddenly felt that Qi Cao Cao's gaze was more aggressive, so she looked at Lu Yuanqiu honestly. But I can't act. It's just a promotional video, there shouldn't be any requirements for acting skills. Just get along with me normally under the camera. Even if you are a real couple, you can't kiss, hug and lift each other up all the time, right? Lu Yuanqiu should have teased her at this time, but when it comes to discussing this topic, he seems a little bit restrained. Maybe Baiqingxia is unique and special to him. After hearing what Lu Yuanqiu said, Qi Chao Chao laughed and jumped, But Bai Qingxia's ears turned red, and her eyes were a little confused. Lu Yuanqiu, if it's really difficult, you can choose not to shoot. But you said it can increase popularity. That's what I said. Can you do anything for it if I say it can increase popularity? All the ideas are thought up by people, but there is just an opportunity in front of us right now. Lu Yuanqiu shrugged and muttered, Anyway, I feel that this promotional video may not increase my popularity. My image has nothing to do with beauty and love. Zhang Yifeng, and you are the only ones who can be useful. So after shooting the promotional video, it's enough for the two of you to increase your popularity. I will be a tool. Bai Qingxia frowned and whispered back, But you are obviously handsome and pretty too. Lu Yuanqiu quickly turned his head in the opposite direction, and the corners of his mouth couldn't help laughing, but he was embarrassed to let Bai Qingxia see him laughing. Oh, so annoying. Can you please stop praising me all of a sudden? Lu Yuanqiu raised his hand and punched Bai Qingxia's arm shyly. Bai Qingxia shrank to the side, and her cheeks turned red from his punch. No, ask again to deepen the impression. Lu Yuanqiu turned his head back again, and put his head close to Bai Qingxia's fair face in a mean way. Am I really handsome and pretty? Bai Qingxia quickly pointed to the side. There's a car, wait a minute. Lu Yuanqiu turned his head and looked. The car was several hundred meters away, as far away as a pinpoint. Don't change the subject. Lu Yuanqiu's voice was like thunder. Bai Qingxia's body shook. Qi Chaoqiao was beside her with her eyes wide open and a smile on her face. She liked listening to her brother and sister talk, even if it was some meaningless words, it didn't matter. She wouldn't feel tired of listening to them all day, because these were two people she liked. Bai Qingxia blinked her eyes and raised her hand to gather her wind-blown hair, as if she wanted to use her hair to cover her red earlobes. She pointed in that direction again. The car is really coming. Lu Yuanqiu looked over and saw that the car, which was as big as a needle hole, had become the size of a soybean. It was closer, but before the car came, Lu Yuanqiu even had time to practice a set of military boxing in the middle of the road. Besides, a line of people were crossing the road nearby. The three of them were standing on the side of the road like idiots waiting for the car to pass. But the car was still far away. Does it matter whether the car comes or not? We are standing on the roadside, and we are not planning to cross the road. Lu Yuanqiu refuted her from another angle. Bai Qingxia suddenly shook her knees anxiously and acted like a spoiled child. I promised you, I will shoot a promotional video. You are even willing to agree to shoot a promotional video, but you are not willing to say I am handsome again? Lu Yuanqiu stared at her seriously. Why can't you say I am beautiful again? Are you speaking against your will? Answer me. Look in my eyes. Bai Qingxia closed her eyes and shrank her head, looking extremely embarrassed. At this moment, she seemed like a poor little animal cowering in the corner of the house, while outside the house, the ground was shaking, the wind and rain were thundering, and it was like the end of the world. Qi Chaoqiao frowned. Lu Yuanqiu's behavior aroused her desire to protect her sister, so she quickly stood in front of her and explained for her sister. Sister is just embarrassed to say it a second time in front of you. Okay. Lu Yuanqiu held back his laughter and raised his hand, as if he was going to let her go. When I return to school, I want to see this sentence on my phone and send it to me. Bai Qingxia breathed a sigh of relief, thinking that everything was fine, but suddenly Lu Yuanqiu's loud words made her tense up again. Add a heart at the end. Back to the dormitory. Lu Yuanqiu looked at the empty message interface on his phone. Why do I seem to hear something breaking? The Taoist priest looked around. Finger also looked around. What? I don't know, maybe I heard it wrong. Lu Yuanqiu put down his phone, but as soon as he put it down, the phone made a beeping sound, and he quickly picked it up. Bai Qingxia, in my heart, you have always been the most handsome among boys. Lu Yuanqiu smiled. How could he really care whether he was handsome or not? He just wanted to hear Bai Qingxia's compliments. Wait. This girl doesn't think I'm inferior, so she's complimenting me? No, confirm it again. Lu Yuanqiu, I want you to tell me from your heart whether I'm the best looking. Don't say that just to comfort me. I don't need comfort, and I won't feel inferior because of this. Bai Qingxia, I have thought you are the most handsome man in the world since junior high school. Ah. 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 Lu Yuanqiu lay on his back on the chair, screaming 3 times in pleasure. Taoist priest, Finger, and the uncle all stretched their heads down from the bed and looked at Lu Yuanqiu below. Finger raised his head. What's wrong with him? Taoist priest frowned. I have heard that there is a 1,000-mile orgasm spell circulating in the world, which is separated by... Okay, Taoist priest, I understand what you mean, no need to explain. Finkel raised his hand quickly. The uncle looked around at the two curiously. Who cursed him? Without waiting for the Taoist priest to answer, Lu Yuanqiu stood up from his chair, looked at the three people like a lunatic, and then walked into the 402 dormitory. He repeated what Su Miaomiu said to Zhang Yifeng. Zhang Yifeng reviewed. So, the first pair of actors is you and Bai Qingxia, and the second pair of actors may be me and Long Liandong? Lu Yuanqiu smiled and nodded. Zhang Yifeng shook his head and lay back on the bed. No. Lu Yuanqiu panicked and poked him in the ass. For popularity, do you believe that I can make you covered in sluts with just one word? Zhang Yifeng, unless you change people, you know what I'm talking about. Lu Yuanqiu's smile became obscene again. Suddenly, the person on the bed turned his head again. But don't reveal in any form that it was me who asked to change people. Lu Yuanqiu frowned in confusion. I say, what kind of play are you two playing recently? Even Bai Qingxia can see that you are weird recently. Chapter 424. Seeing Zhang Yifeng ignore him, Lu Yuanqiu couldn't help but think of the butterfly effect that his rebirth might bring. He couldn't help but say, I see that the relationship between you has become colder and colder recently, but I know you definitely don't care about her. Deal with it well, and don't make a fuss. Lu Yuanqiu knew that his rebirth had directly or indirectly changed many people, including Bai Qingxia, Chao Shuang, Qi Chao Chao, and even Zhong Jinqing, but these people were all developing in a good direction. But Zhang Yifeng was the only one. If he broke the marriage that should have belonged to him, Lu Yuanqiu would really blame himself, because Zhang Yifeng was a good person. Zhang Yifeng lay on his side on the bed, facing the wall, and only responded with a short sentence. Don't worry, everything is under control. Lu Yuanqiu raised his eyebrows slightly, then smiled, and raised his hand to pat the other's arm twice. Although Zhang Yifeng usually spoke little, every word he said was very reliable, and Lu Yuanqiu believed him. Is Zhang Yifeng dating anyone? Liang Jingfeng leaned over. Lu Yuanqiu, it's a secret. There are so many couples in the class. Why are you still dating underground? Are you going to let people live? Liang Jingfeng muttered. Lu Yuanqiu looked at him, and wanted to laugh. With Liang Jingfeng's family background and appearance, he obviously has no shortage of partners, but he is a virgin. After spending these days together, Lu Yuanqiu can probably summarize some reasons. Liang Jingfeng's vision is too high, and he is particularly innocent. He doesn't like ugly girls, and he blushes when he meets pretty girls. He stammers and can't speak, and the words he says are also the words of a steel straight man. In addition, he likes to show off his wealth, but is not willing to spend money, so it is difficult for girls to have a good impression of him. Liang Jingfeng, who was lying on the bed, suddenly said, I dare not imagine how exciting Saturday night will be. Alas, why don't I have a girlfriend? Lu Yuanqiu was planning to go back to the dormitory, but after hearing this, he stopped and looked at him. What do you mean? Liang Jingfeng turned his head. You don't really think that everyone will stay in a tent with 4 people in a dormitory honestly? The couples in the class who are dating are planning to do something at night. Some of them have bought their own tents, and don't plan to sleep with their roommates. Zhong Jinqing, who was texting frantically on the bed, seemed to smell something different, and sat up quickly. Ha ha ha, is this true? Doing it outdoors? Liang Jingfeng, yes. Lu Yuanqiu looked at Zhong Jinqing. Who are you texting so fast? Zhong Jinqing glanced at him with disdain, and seemed to look a little unnatural. He turned over and said, Lu Wei and I are discussing art. Ah, why does this pervert have girls to chat with? Liang Jingfeng roared. Lu Yuanqiu ignored Liang Jingfeng's hysteria and asked Zhong Jinqing with a smile, what kind of art? Of course it's serious art, painting. You also know about painting? I thought you two were still chatting about that kind of content. Lu Yuanqiu came to his bed curiously. The expression on Zhong Jinqing's face became even more unnatural, as if when he mentioned Lu Wei, the original him, who always talked about cars suddenly became a conservative and feudal person. He began to be ashamed to talk about that kind of topic, and he didn't want others to misunderstand that Lu Wei only talked about this kind of thing. Go away, go back to your dorm. We don't just talk about boring things. Zhong Jinqing covered himself with a quilt and ordered him to leave. A muffled beep-beep sound came from the quilt. Lu Wei, I like Picasso. I think his paintings in each period reveal different thoughts. He is a person of high level. Zhong Jinqing switched out of the interface and started to search for works of Van Gogh. He glanced at them quickly and returned to the chat interface to reply. Zhong Jinqing, haha, I also like Picasso, but I like Van Gogh's works more, such as his Crows in the Wheat Field. I was amazed when I saw it for the first time. Lu Wei, really? I also like this one very much. Do you know what kind of situation he painted it in? Covering his mouth and laughing, Zhong Jincheng was stunned for a moment, and then switched out of the interface to search again. What kind of situation was the crows in the wheat field painted in? Actually, he was also very curious. He thought that after reconciling with Luo Wei, they would occasionally chat about dirty jokes. After all, they must be more open than other friends. But the result was far different from what he imagined. Luo Wei began to not drive with him at all. She was very quiet, polite, and well-educated. The songs at the welcome party were like holy water that washed away the desires and filth in the two of them, and even their friendship became clear and pure. It was so strange. Not only Luo Wei was like this, but also he himself. He became restrained and would seriously consider whether every word he said was appropriate. Lu Yuanqiu glanced at Liang Jingfeng and asked, "Has this guy become normal?" "Normal ass." Liang Jingfeng complained. "The number of tissues on the floor has tripled these days. I don't know why, but he seems to be more excited than before." Lu Yuanqiu, Are the two playing a contrast with each other? Saturday morning. Clinical Class 30 all gathered at the east gate of the school. A bus had already stopped at the gate. Su Miao, wearing a curved sun hat, was distributing dormitory tents and backpacks to everyone. Zhang Yifeng walked forward on behalf of dormitory 402, and Su Miao handed him a tent expressionlessly. When Lu Yuanqiu was about to claim it, Zhang Yifeng suddenly walked up to him and said something inexplicable. "Teacher Su's own tent seems to be very big." After a moment of reaction, Lu Yuanqiu realized what this guy meant. After coming to Su Miao, Lu Yuanqiu asked, "Teacher, you sleep in a tent by yourself?" Su Miao nodded, "Yes." "Aren't you scared? It's so dangerous to sleep alone in the deep mountains and old forests." Lu Yuanqiu said with a smile, and just as he finished speaking, he found that Bai Qingxiao also came over. Bai Qingxiao was wearing the black and white baseball jacket today. She looked at Lu Yuanqiu with a strange expression, because she just heard what Lu Yuanqiu said. "I'm worried that it's dangerous for the teacher to sleep alone," Lu Yuanqiu explained to her. Bai Qingxiao pouted and put her chin on the tent in her arms. She ignored him and left with the tent in her arms. "What do you want to say?" Su Miao asked helplessly, thrusting the tent into his hands. Lu Yuanqiu paused for a moment, and suddenly realized something that Zhang Yifeng might not have noticed. "Teacher, why did you choose such a big tent for yourself? Are you used to having a bigger space when you sleep?" Su Miao was stunned. I buy whatever I like. Chapter 425. Take your tent and walk around. Don't block other people. Su Miao said unhappily. Lu Yuanqiu imitated Bai Qingxiao's pouting and left. He walked to Zhang Yifeng to report the situation. "The teacher's tent is brand new, and the color is different from ours. It's obvious that she bought it for this team building, but she chose a big one. There must be something behind it." Zhang Yifeng was stunned for a moment, and the corners of his mouth slightly raised, but he still retorted, "It may also be for future use." Lu Yuanqiu, "Does she have the habit of camping?" Zhang Yifeng didn't say anything, thinking. Judging from Su Miao's indifference these days, she definitely has a good impression of him. If she didn't act indifferent, but everything was normal, Zhang Yifeng would panic. But the effect of the military strategy does not mean that the problem will be easy to solve. Because Su Miao is an extremely rational, entangled, hesitant, and arrogant woman, it is difficult to make her open her mouth. As an 18-year-old boy, the more he expresses his admiration to her, the more she will feel that her thoughts are childish and immature. Zhang Yifeng couldn't prove that he was a mature person, and trying to prove it would only make him look childish, so he gave up the straightforward approach. After all, the previous experience had already proved a lot. Of course, it was also said that Su Miao was a mature and rational woman. She was also very responsible and kind, and there were too many realistic factors to consider. Zhang Yifeng understood this, and if it were him, he would make the same choice as Su Miao. There are too many examples in this world of men and women who have a crush on each other, but cannot be together because of various realistic factors. Want to be together quickly, want to put aside the psychological burden and be together naturally. You have to use your brain. First make yourself invincible, then wait for the enemy to be defeated. Even the most rational woman will eventually be defeated by the art of war. If Lu Yuanqiu's guess is true, Zhang Yifeng judged that Su Miao will make a move tonight. After getting in the car, Lu Yuanqiu twisted his big butt and sat next to Bai Qingxiao. "This is my roommate's seat." Bai Qingxiao protested to him. "What's wrong?" Lu Yuanqiu not only sat down, but also deliberately moved closer to her. Bai Qingxiao was squeezed by him by the window and huddled into a small ball. Lu Yuanqiu took up half of the seat with his butt. As soon as he sat down, Qi Chaoqiao stood beside him with her bag. looking at him with a gloomy look. Lu Yuanqiu pointed to the back and said, "Kids, stay at the back." Chi Chao Chao left dissatisfied. Lu Yuanqiu looked at the boys around him, and found that these guys really prepared extra tents. He thought for a while, turned his head, and looked at Bai Qingxia's innocent face, and said, "The suburbs are very scary. There are ghosts in the deep mountains and old forests." Bai Qingxia pouted and said quickly, "If you are afraid, then you are in the same tent as Teacher Su." Lu Yuanqiu was stuck in his words, laughed angrily, and reorganized his words. "Am I talking about whether I am afraid or not? I am worried about you. The old monster likes to eat fair and tender girls like you." After he said that, he lifted Bai Qingxia's hanging hair and helped her put it behind her ears. Bai Qingxia thought of the last time Lu Yuanqiu ate her earlobe. If this statement is used as an analogy, then Lu Yuanqiu is the old monster. Lu Yuanqiu was the first person to eat her. Bai Qingxia hugged the bag tightly in her arms and whispered, "I have a roommate, I'm not afraid." Lu Yuanqiu said to her like a child quarreling, "Is it great to have a roommate? I have a roommate too, I'm not afraid." Bai Qingxia suddenly couldn't hold it back and smiled with her head down, because she knew why Lu Yuanqiu deliberately scared her, but Lu Yuanqiu obviously didn't succeed. "What are you laughing at? You've made money. You can buy some new clothes when you have time." Lu Yuanqiu pulled her baseball uniform and changed the subject. In fact, he didn't think that this girl would choose to share a tent with him under such circumstances, but if he didn't harass Bai Qingxia, he felt that something was missing in this day. Bai Qingxia put away her smile and shrank to the side, shaking her head, her ponytail swinging behind her head. "It's enough to have enough clothes, and I have to save money when I spend it wisely." "What do you want to save it for?" "It will be useful." Su Miaomio got on the bus at this time, and the bus finally started. Lu Yuanqiu looked at her stubborn face, and knew that persuasion was useless. He lowered his head, and sent a message to Lu Wangchun. "Lu Yuanqiu, can you take Bai Qingxia to buy new clothes? Good girlfriend?" "Lu Wangchun, she won't go, what can I do? She doesn't want to spend my money, nor her own money." "Lu Yuanqiu, you are already in college, you can't be the same as before, you should also use your mind to persuade her to change." "Lu Wangchun, I have a way with a higher risk factor, hee. You can say in front of her that Long Liandong has too many clothes, and it looks good on her grin." "Grin," Lu Yuanqiu replied with a fake smile. "Lu Yuanqiu, you are really a clever little ghost." "Lu Wangchun, grin." "Grin. But maybe changing the euphemism to say it will work?" Lu Yuanqiu coughed twice, and cleared his throat. "The main thing is that we are not short of money. Pretty girls should have more clothes and dress themselves up nicely, just like that person, oh Lu Wangchun, Shi Ling, Long Liandong." Bai Qingxia's eyes changed, and her sight slightly shifted to the side when she looked out the window. She paused for a moment and continued to look out the window. Her eyes were as calm as water, but her eyelashes blinked faster. She should have heard it, right? Lu Yuanqiu glanced at her timidly. After she finished talking about Long Liandong, Lu Yuanqiu didn't dare to continue to be a jerk, and sat quietly beside her. The bus stopped at a suburban park. Everyone got off the bus one by one. Lu Yuanqiu was queuing with his bag on his back. Suddenly, he caught a glimpse of a face next to him that looked weak. He exclaimed, "Where did this weak ghost come from?" Zhong Jincheng didn't bother to pay attention to him. Liang Jingfeng whispered to Lu Yuanqiu, "Today, the paper towels are doubled." Lu Yuanqiu said, "Huh?" He quickly put his arm around Zhong Jincheng's shoulders, and said seriously, "Don't waste yourself before you talk to her." Zhong Jincheng frowned, looking helpless. "I don't know why. We talked about serious topics, very serious, but I get very excited when I think of her serious appearance behind her." Lu Yuanqiu. "In other words, will she do the same to you?" Zhong Jincheng suddenly stood still, then turned his head unexpectedly, and looked at Lu Yuanqiu with wide eyes. "You mean, she will also become more excited because of me?" Without waiting for Lu Yuanqiu to respond. Make way, make way." Zhong Jincheng suddenly squeezed forward. "Is there a public toilet nearby? Driver, go west." Too late, I'm about to come out." Zhong Jincheng rushed down and ran westward with his bag on his back. Su Miaomio muttered, "Did you eat something bad?" He probably tasted a different kind of love. Lu Yuanqiu smiled in his heart. After the whole class got off the bus, Lu Yuanqiu looked around and found that this place was not a deep mountain or old forest, but an ecological park with a wide field, and the grass was a little yellow. There were even people camping here. Lu Yuanqiu was about to move the food, and fingers suddenly patted him on the shoulder and pointed in a direction. "Aren't they the Yulua band? What a coincidence." Lu Yuanqiu turned his head, and saw a car parked on the side of the road. 5 women with good figures were carrying camping things down the slope one by one. Chapter 426. Yulua Band, all 5 members are girls. There are more than 70 bands in the 4 campuses of Juda University, and only 2 bands are all female. One is Pink Lady Band, and the other is Yulua Band. Lu Yuanqiu has visited their forum homepage and found that all 5 members are impeccable beauties. Fu Yimeng, as the captain and lead singer, is even more beautiful. In terms of appearance, she is almost at the same level as Shi Ling and Xia Dong. This woman is very sexy, especially her eyes. When she looks at the camera, she reveals a foxy cunning and charm. Her temperament is very natural, and there is no sense of affectation. In the performance video of Yulua Band, the male students in the audience even gave Lu Yuanqiu a feeling of live training, and their reactions were crazy. Lu Yuanqiu thought it was understandable that such a band had stronger fans. Moreover, the lead singer, Fu Yimeng, whose major in Xinxia campus was civil engineering safety, which had an extremely imbalanced gender ratio, was very popular in the entire department. The contrast of majors, coupled with the performance of the band, and the various buffs added to her, were too lethal to male students. The movement of clinical class 30 soon attracted the 5 members of Yulua Band. Fu Yimeng, who was walking at the end with something in her arms, followed her teammate's gaze and looked over. She was just taking a casual glance, but when she saw Lu Yuanqiu, she stood still for a moment. Fu Yimeng seemed to have a deep impression of Lu Yuanqiu and recognized him at a glance. Her red lips curled up quietly, and Lu Yuanqiu felt that her eyes at this moment were like the high-definition photo taken in front of the camera in the forum, cunning and charming. But Lu Yuanqiu was not attracted, he just felt that the eyes were so provocative, like a big sister looking at a little brother. "Let's go, Mingming!" The other girls in the Yulua Band shouted, and Fu Yimeng followed her teammates and left. Pretty and distinctive girls seemed to correspond to an animal. This sentence inexplicably emerged in Lu Yuanqiu's mind. Just as he thought of this, a pure face of a white swan appeared in front of him. "What are you looking at?" "Moving things." Bai Qingxia stuffed a bag of vegetables into Lu Yuanqiu's arms. She raised her clear eyes and looked into Lu Yuanqiu's eyes. After looking at him for a few seconds, she walked to the car and took things with others. Lu Yuanqiu stared at the peeling pink hairpin on her head and was stunned. "Oh!" he suddenly exclaimed, causing Bai Qingxia to look back at him strangely. Lu Yuanqiu responded with a wry smile, and when Bai Qingxia turned around, he quickly stuffed the things in his arms to Zheng Yifeng, then took off his backpack and felt around, and felt the outline of a hairpin. "I bought a new hairpin a week ago, but forgot to give it to Little Swan, and it has been in my bag until now." Her pink hairpin was peeling, but she was reluctant to change it, so Lu Yuanqiu had to buy one himself. "Zheng Yifeng, are you done? Will you die if you help me carry it for a while?" "Yes." Lu Yuanqiu looked blank and immediately snatched the vegetables from his arms. After everyone chose an open area, they began to set up the tent. Lu Yuanqiu ate melon seeds and stood aside, watching Bai Qingxia and the others bending over and fumbling. He laughed and watched the fun. "You can't even set up the tent properly, you're so stupid. Why don't you set up the tent in your own dormitory and still have time to mock girls here?" Su Miaomiu came over. Lu Yuanqiu retorted, "I don't know how to set up a tent." Bai Qingxia immediately turned around and glared at him. "It was annoying when I couldn't set up a tent properly." Su Miaomiu also laughed angrily, with her hands on her hips. "You can't do it yourself, but you still mock others for being stupid?" Bai Qingxia echoed, "Bitch." Lu Yuanqiu pointed his finger at her and glared at her. "You actually scolded me?" He walked towards Bai Qingxia aggressively, but Bai Qingxia was no longer as cowardly as before, and she knew what Lu Yuanqiu was thinking from his expression. Seeing Lu Yuanqiu coming, she even took another step forward bravely, raised her snow-white chin higher, and lowered her hands clenched in front of her body to both sides, staring at Lu Yuanqiu with unyielding eyes, but her expression of staring at others was very cute, making people want to eat her up. Lu Yuanqiu walked up to her and lowered his head. It was the legendary at this distance. They are either fighting or kissing. Let's see who has bigger eyes, right? Okay, yours is bigger. Let's see who can hold back from blinking. Lu Yuanqiu was in a playful mood. Qi Chao, who was standing next to her, opened her eyes a little wider, with a sense of substitution. Su Miaomiu couldn't stand it anymore and quickly pushed the annoying guy away. "Go back to your dormitory. Don't disturb the girls." "Teacher, what are you doing? The competition has reached a white-hot stage." Seeing Lu Yuanqiu being pushed away by Teacher Su, Bai Qingxia's expression suddenly turned into a smile. If Teacher Su hadn't pushed Lu Yuanqiu away, she would have laughed the next second after looking at Lu Yuanqiu. It's mean, but it's really funny. After everyone's tents were set up, Lu Yuanqiu and Zhang Yifeng sat on the lawn and watched the girls prepare barbecue ingredients over there. The sun shining near noon was very comfortable and warm on the body. The weather in November was already cold, but at this time Lu Yuanqiu even felt that he could just wear a short-sleeved shirt. He lay back, resting his arms behind his head. Feeling the sun was glaring, he tilted his head and saw the busy girls over there. Bai Qingxiao was among them. Everyone knew that she was the restaurant owner, so they all tacitly handed over the most important steps of processing ingredients to her. Bai Qingxiao was not familiar with many of them, so she was flattered. "What is Zhong Jincheng doing?" Lu Yuanqiu asked. He found that Zhong Jincheng was meditating under the shade of a tree with the Taoist priest. Zhang Yifeng. The Taoist priest said that meditation helps to strengthen the body, and then Zhong Jincheng knelt down and called him master. Puff. Lu Yuanqiu couldn't help laughing. He turned his head to look at Zhang Yifeng again and said to him, "What about the promotional video? Do you want to shoot it?" Zhang Yifeng. You ask even though you know the answer. Lu Yuanqiu smiled and then said, "But we still have to see if Long Liandong is willing to shoot it. If she is willing, I can't take away her opportunity. After all, she has helped me before." Zhang Yifeng. I know, anyway, if she takes a photo, I won't take it. Lu Yuanqiu. Said, and then Finger and Liang Jingfeng suddenly ran over like two monkeys, grinning. Quick, quick, the Yulua band is performing over there. Lu Yuanqiu sat up in surprise. Performing here? Performing for whom? The four of them sneaked behind a thick tree trunk and saw from a distance that the 5 members of the Yulua band were standing in front of a group of people performing. This was a group of old people wearing red hats on their heads. Chapter 427. The elderly people smiled as they watched the 5 beautiful young girls perform for them. They sat on the stools and swayed their upper bodies, clapping along with the music in a very neat manner. Lu Yuanqiu looked at the equipment in their hands. He knew something was wrong. It turned out that there were eru and pipa, as well as a cowhide drum and guzheng. But the female members of the Yulua band could use them. It was not simple. He glanced at a bus parked not far away. There was a red banner on the surface of the bus. Sunset Red Band. It seems that these traditional instruments were brought by grandparents. They might also be doing team building, but they just happened to choose the same camp as the 5-member camp of Yulua band. What a beautiful jasmine flower. What a beautiful jasmine flower. The fragrance is full of branches. Fu Yimeng held a microphone with a wire, stood still, and swayed her upper body slightly to sing for the elderly like a good girl. Lu Yuanqiu crossed his arms and tilted his head. The feeling of this Yulua band is quite contrasting. Finkel and Liang Jingfeng nodded quickly. Both of them were stunned. After all, who would have thought that the 5 beauties who performed rock music passionately on the stage would sing Jasmine Flower to the elderly, with traditional instruments in private, and behave so well. In fact, they should record a video and post it on the forum. Lu Yuanqiu thought to himself, maybe the students in 2011 don't have the instinct to hype the popularity. After singing, Fu Yimeng smiled, raised her right hand to her chest, and bowed to the grandparents. They didn't notice the 4 people peeking at them at the moment. Fu Yimeng continued to sing the next song under the help of her grandparents. She seemed to enjoy it. In the camp of the clinical department, a boy suddenly shouted, "The Yulua band is singing over there." Lu Yuanqiu and the others went to peek. Zhong Jincheng opened his eyes suddenly after hearing this and quickly stood up. Damn it! Lu Yuanqiu eats alone. The Taoist's meditation seemed to be really useful. The expression on Zhong Jincheng's face improved a lot. But the Taoist priest was stunned. He tilted his neck and looked at Zhong Jincheng's energetic appearance. He couldn't help muttering, "Is this guy gifted? I just said it casually to strengthen the foundation and nourish the essence." Bai Qingxiao, who was processing the ingredients, also looked up after hearing the noise. She looked at the other classmates running in one direction, hesitated for a moment, and then took off her disposable gloves and followed behind, because the boy said Lu Yuanqiu was peeking. Why did he say peeking? The sound of a dozen people rushing from a distance made the 4 people standing behind the tree look back. They looked surprised. Sure enough, the next moment, the 5 people from the Yulua band also noticed the scene here, and even the grandparents turned their heads to look over. Wow, why are there so many students? An old man couldn't help but smile and looked up, very surprised. Fu Yimeng was also a little surprised. Can the 2 camps hear each other from such a distance? And she saw Lu Yuanqiu and Zhang Yifeng in the crowd. These 2 people are the most recognizable in the Yangdu string band. She thought for a while, suddenly smiled slyly, and then hurriedly said to the old people in front, "Grandpas and grandmas, there is a boy who can sing over there. Let him sing a song for you too. Okay, I take a break." Lu Yuanqiu knew that Fu Yimeng was referring to him, and this guy seemed to be happy and secretly delighted, with an expression on his face that said there will be fun to watch next. "Are you still waiting to watch the fun? You give me such a good opportunity to attract popularity, then I won't be polite." Lu Yuanqiu smiled in his heart, but raised his hand awkwardly and said, This is not good, right? I haven't prepared anything, it's so sudden." The more he said this, the more comfortable Fu Yimeng felt. When in the lead singer group, Lu Yuanqiu's arrogance could be felt between the lines. Fu Yimeng didn't say it in the group because her identity and image were not suitable for expressing such opinions. "You are just a brat. I'd let you be arrogant and peek at us. I'd punish you to make grandparents happy." Fu Yimeng was secretly happy in her heart. She always thought that Lu Yuanqiu was just a brat who didn't know how high the sky was and how deep the earth was. His arrogant behavior was just because he hadn't encountered any setbacks or blows yet. The lead singer of Yanggu's string band performed very well at the welcome party. "Why are you shy now? It's okay. Come on, come on. My 4 teammates will cooperate with you." Fu Yimeng blinked her eyes charmingly. Zhong Jinqing's face was calm, but his pants moved. Lu Yuanqiu took out his cell phone and said in embarrassment, "That was when we were prepared." "Now?" Fu Yimeng ignored him and clapped his hands like a moral kidnapping. "Don't let the grandparents wait anxiously. Come one. Come one. Come one." The grandparents all echoed happily, "Come one. Come one." Lu Yuanqiu shyly waved his hands in front of him, then turned around and handed the phone to Finger and whispered seriously, "Record it, and then post it to the official forum of Juda, with the title, 'Team Building met a group of lovely elderly people, cooperated with the seniors of Yulua Band to perform for the grandparents. Seeing the grandparents happy, I was also very happy. And at the same time thanked the seniors of Yulua Band. They not only encouraged me, but also were willing to cooperate with me in the performance, really flattered. Is this the feeling of being recognized by the predecessors?' Add a question mark and an exclamation mark at the end." Ahem. Zhang Yifeng almost couldn't hold it in. Finger frowned. Wait, speak slower, I don't remember." "I remember." Bai Qingxia's weak voice came from the side. She pursed her lips and seemed to want to laugh. Lu Yuanqiu handed her the phone. "You come." Bai Qingxia hid behind the crowd to prepare for the video. Fu Yimeng didn't see it, and at this moment, she was still enthusiastically pulling Lu Yuanqiu to the front of the 4 teammates. "You tell me what you want to sing for the grandparents, and my teammates will help you." Lu Yuanqiu was as shy as a quail, then turned around awkwardly and said to the 4 seniors from the Yulua Band, "Then how about Love You? I just happened to hear this song last night, so let's sing a cheerful song for the grandparents." Fu Yimeng lowered her head and held back her laughter. "Since you are not prepared, you still sing this kind of song that requires both sound and form to be performed. Isn't this embarrassing for yourself?" When the prelude of Love You sounded, Lu Yuanqiu was a little surprised. Their band is really versatile, and they can play both pipa and guzheng. But his surprise soon turned into a surprised expression on Fu Yimeng's face. Lu Yuanqiu suddenly seemed to be a different person, holding the microphone with a smile on his face to liven up the atmosphere. "Yo yo yo. Cindy! What's wrong with me?" He even turned around on the spot. His body moved to the rhythm of the music, closed his eyes, and seemed to be immersed in it. Lu Yuanqiu's arrogant and flamboyant appearance made the expression on Fu Yimeng's face freeze for a moment. "Aren't you nervous?" Chapter 428. "You are not nervous, you just acted." The smile on Fu Yimeng's face began to pretend to be calm. Seeing the expression on the senior's face, they knew that Lu Yuanqiu was acting in his true colors. Finger and Liang Jingfeng couldn't hold back and quickly hid behind the crowd and bent over to laugh wildly. Hearing the laughter, Fu Yimeng immediately turned her head to look at the crowd and glared at them. After Lu Yuanqiu's teammates laughed, she couldn't laugh anymore. "Are you kidding me? Is this interesting?" Fu Yimeng certainly didn't expect what was waiting for her later. Lu Yuanqiu shook his head and looked back at the stiff expression on the senior's face. The smile would not disappear, but would only shift. Lu Yuanqiu suddenly became happier and started a simple dance to the music, not only enjoying himself, but also adding to the atmosphere of the scene. Bai Qingxiao was recording the video seriously. Lu Yuanqiu's cheerful steps suddenly stopped. He stood still and pointed forward. "If you suddenly sneeze, that must be because I'm thinking about you. If you're woken up by a cell phone in the middle of the night, that's because I care." The grandparents were all smiling, and they all enthusiastically clapped their hands to beat the rhythm for Lu Yuanqiu. Fu Yimeng gradually calmed down. It didn't matter if she was fooled. This guy might be a bit mean, but he did have something. At least his fearlessness and openness far surpassed many people. Even she, who was standing aside, was slightly excited by Lu Yuanqiu's performance, and she was not angry at all. What can you do about it? Some people are born mean, but Lu Yuanqiu's next performance made her face darken instantly, and her temples throbbed. I really want to believe it, but I can't help but doubt it. This guy walked towards her while singing, and stretched out his hand to invite her. Fu Yimeng pulled the corners of her mouth, tilted her head, showed a kind smile, and looked at him with her hands on her chest, without any desire to interact. Lu Yuanqiu tried to hold back his laughter, and almost sang wrong because of it. After singing the song quickly, he quickly put the microphone aside, and said to the grandparents, "One more song." Under the invitation of the hospitality, she quickly fled into the crowd of onlookers, so as not to be caught by the back of the neck if she ran too slowly. Bai Qingxiu was standing outside editing the text of the post obediently. Lu Yuanqiu looked back and immediately smiled, and put his arm around her shoulders, and walked faster towards the camping place of the clinical department. Hurry up, that guy's eyes look like he wants to eat people. Bai Qingxiu turned her head to look at the hand on her shoulder, blinked her eyes, and silently quickened her pace. Her heartbeat also became faster, as if she was the one who was about to be beaten. After returning to the clinical department, Lu Yuanqiu came behind Bai Qingxiu and stretched his head to watch her post the edited post. Will I really get beaten if I post this? Bai Qingxiu turned around and found that Lu Yuanqiu's face was very close, so she took a half step back. Lu Yuanqiu took the phone and looked at the content on it. He was a little surprised. You remember what I said more clearly than I do? Bai Qingxiu pouted. I have a good memory. It's okay, it's completely fine to post like this, it's a normal copy. They may not think anything of it at first, but after seeing the number of likes, comments, and reposts, and a large number of my own fans coming to increase the popularity of my bar, they will probably realize that something is wrong. Bai Qingxiu couldn't help laughing. You are so bad. Lu Yuanqiu was stunned for a moment, and looked up. What did you just say? Bai Qingxiu put away her smile and blinked. I said you are so bad, isn't that right? Can come up with such an idea. Then can you please say it again? Lu Yuanqiu's tone became cute, and he looked at her with a smile. Bai Qingxiu pulled the corner of her mouth, and immediately realized that this pervert was happy again for some inexplicable reason, and it was a reason she couldn't figure out. So she decisively ignored him, turned around mercilessly, and strode towards the barbecue grill. Lu Yuanqiu laughed, imitated Bai Qingxiu's tone, and muttered that sentence to himself in his heart, and then walked towards Jing Yifeng and the others in a good mood. This post has already been liked. After lunch, some students gathered together to play card games, while the boys who brought their own tents had already started to build their couple's happy house, which made Liang Jingfeng's eyes brimming with envy, and he wished he could join them in the evening to have a threesome with them. What do you want to say? Sitting on the lawn, Lu Yuanqiu asked Zheng Yifeng, because he found that Zheng Yifeng had been looking at him, and was hesitant to speak since the beginning, and this date had lasted for half an hour. Not only that, this guy actually blushed for no reason. Lu Yuanqiu was puzzled. What on earth made him so difficult to say? Zheng Yifeng turned his head away unnaturally, sat on the ground and pulled up the dead grass and threw it away, squinting his eyes, and looking into the distance, his expression pretending to be deep. Have you slept with Bai Qingxiu? Zheng Yifeng asked. Lu Yuanqiu suddenly turned his head and stared. What are you talking about? I warn you not to talk nonsense. Zheng Yifeng was stunned, and quickly raised his hands and said, I mean, have you ever slept together? Yes. Right? Yes. Zheng Yifeng looked at Lu Yuanqiu with a bit of envy. Lu Yuanqiu's easy yes was something he could hardly do. If we just lied together normally, what unintentional behaviors can we do to increase intimacy? Zheng Yifeng asked. Seeing his humble attitude, Lu Yuanqiu even thought that he should take out a small notebook to record and study. Lu Yuanqiu actually thought about this question seriously. After a minute, he reacted, Wait, are you sure you will lie together with Teacher Su tonight? Because I remember you said that Teacher Su's expression was very unnatural when she refuted your idea of buying a tent. This is very important. Did she or didn't she? It seems so. It seems so? Yes. That's fine. Lu Yuanqiu was still surprised. Are you sure based on this? About 80%, judging by her recent emotional state, and she would most likely raise the issue in a very tactful way, not directly to me. Could it be? To me? Lu Yuanqiu pointed at himself. Zheng Yifeng said nothing, frowned, and seemed to be calculating something in his mind. After a moment, he spoke, I'm not sure, but it's probably 80% possible. Are you science guys so weird in chasing people? Chasing people? Zhang Yifeng shook his head slowly. I don't think I'm chasing her. Su Miaomiu can't be chased. Forget it. Lu Yuanqiu waved his hand, too lazy to argue with him about these things. You haven't taught me yet. Do you really want to learn? At night, all the tents in this area were lit up, and many couples left their roommates and stayed alone in a tent with their partners. Su Miaomia's tent was very large, and was built alone in a corner of the camp. The camp, which seemed normal during the day, became even darker and more gloomy in the woods as night fell, as if there were some monsters hiding in it, and Su Miaomia's tent was built next to those trees. Zhang Yifeng sat beside the tent, not in a hurry to fall asleep. He looked at the location where Su Miaomia's tent was built, thinking. Finger was snoring. Just as Lu Yuanqiu was about to lie down in his dormitory tent, he suddenly received a message on his phone. Teacher Su, Lu Yuanqiu, okay, I admit that I'm still a little scared. It's too dark here. It still feels weird when I turn on the light. Can you guys bring a few students to share a tent with me? Lu Yuanqiu sat up suddenly. He quickly unzipped the tent and looked at the tent in 402. Zhang Yifeng was sitting there. Seeing Lu Yuanqiu looking at him at this time, Zhang Yifeng slowly raised the corner of his mouth. Chapter 429. After a triumphant smile, Zhang Yifeng's mouth corners turned up, and even his eyes curved. This time, it was a happy and relaxed smile. He seemed to have been worried until now, and Lu Yuanqiu's reaction finally made him feel relieved. Zhang Yifeng firmly believed that his solution was correct, but he did not think that the word love was controllable. The reason why people are called people is because they have complex and delicate emotions. Love is the pursuit of higher-level emotions by human beings. It is different from family affection and friendship. It is the only fantasy among many emotions in the real world. Thinking of this, Zhang Yifeng looked up at Lu Yuanqiu, and saw Lu Yuanqiu making a calm-down gesture towards him. I'm really impressed. They are two really sultry people. Lu Yuanqiu doesn't really understand Su Miaomiu, since he is also interested in Zhang Yifeng. Why don't they just get together? At least Lu Yuanqiu hasn't seen any psychological burden of dating from Su Miaomiu so far, unlike Bai Qingxia's obvious contradiction between inferiority and self-reliance. Of course, Lu Yuanqiu doesn't really understand Su Miaomiu. Maybe she really has other realistic factors that are hard to get rid of. After all, the social relationship between these two people is indeed special, and does not conform to that of a normal couple. Reality is not a novel. There are not so many romantic plots of eloping without hesitation. Thinking of this, Lu Yuanqiu forced a smile on his face and responded, Lu Yuanqiu, what should we do? How about letting Zhang Yifeng, the class leader, accompany you? Teacher Su, it's okay, but he can't be the only boy. Two people are too inappropriate. Anyway, my tent is big, and then... two more. Lu Yuanqiu typed expressionlessly. At this moment, he finally understood which four people Su Miaomiu's big tent was prepared for. It turned out that this scheming female teacher had planned it from the beginning. Lu Yuanqiu, then add another girl, Bai Qingxia, add another boy, me, Su Miaomiu, sure, come on. Lu Yuanqiu switched contacts. Lu Yuanqiu, did you sleep? Bai Qingxia, no. Lu Yuanqiu, Teacher Su wanted to have an affair with Zhang Yifeng, and she made an excuse that she was scared, and asked the two of us and Zhang Yifeng to accompany her in her tent to give her courage. You come out now, and we two will sleep later, let them play by themselves, and then we will find a reason to leave in the middle. Bai Qingxia, okay, I get dressed covering my mouth, and laughing Lu Yuanqiu put his phone down and walked towards Zhang Yifeng. He was still curious about how Zhang Yifeng could guess so accurately, but when he thought that asking would be a chance for this guy to show off, he didn't bother asking. This is a rare opportunity. Have you memorized all the away 18 styles I taught you? Good disciple. Lu Yuanqiu crossed his arms. Zhang Yifeng's relaxed expression suddenly became depressed, and he also crossed his arms. Although he has a good learning ability, the things Lu Yuanqiu taught him, he probably really lacks talent in this area. He always feels that it is something more difficult to understand than high school Chinese. If a boy can do it in the situation later, he will really admire him. Lu Yuanqiu said seriously, if you want to go further, you have to be bold, don't be timid, a real man should be thick-skinned, and don't be ashamed if you make mistakes. He is so confident, can he do it to Bai Qingxia? Zhang Yifeng couldn't help but glance at Lu Yuanqiu. Ding ding. Lu Yuanqiu took out his cell phone. Teacher Su, why haven't you come yet? Look, she's more anxious than you. Lu Yuanqiu brought the cell phone to Zhang Yifeng. Zhang Yifeng glanced at it, but before he could see clearly, Lu Yuanqiu put the phone down and said, "Bai Qingxia, and I will sneak out during the trip. I believe that even if Teacher Su finds out, she will pretend not to find out. It's up to you when the time comes." Zheng Yifeng, thank you. I treat you to a meal when we get back to school. Lu Yuanqiu, okay. The two laughed lewdly. In fact, Zheng Yifeng's smile was normal, but the smile on Lu Yuanqiu's face was too lewd. Bai Qingxia finally came out of the tent with her clothes neatly dressed. Lu Yuanqiu was surprised to find that her hair was loose at the moment. It's not surprising, but it's been a long time since I saw Bai Qingxia with her hair loose. It's really strange. Some women rack their brains for hours every day to use clothes and makeup to show different beauty. But in Lu Yuanqiu's heart, Bai Qingxia only needs an action to take off the hairband. Let's go! Zheng Yifeng reminded her, and Lu Yuanqiu finally reacted. She quickly said oh and joined him at Bai Qingxia's place. This girl seemed very excited, and she secretly glanced at Zheng Yifeng from Lu Yuanqiu. To some extent, Zheng Yifeng and she had the experience of fighting side by side, so she would help Zheng Yifeng with his affairs, and she was particularly looking forward to the results, as if she was reading a romance novel in which she participated from the beginning to the end. She found that as the distance between her and Su Miaomiao's tents got closer, Zheng Yifeng's facial expression gradually changed to expressionless. Although they were both quiet people, Zheng Yifeng's acting skills were much better than hers. Bai Qingxia thought to herself. After the three of them entered the tent, Su Miaomiao was sitting on the blanket. Her eyes naturally swept across Zheng Yifeng's face, and then she smiled at Lu Yuanqiu and the others. You are here. Teacher Su's acting skills are better than Zheng Yifeng's, much better. Bai Qingxia muttered to herself again. Lu Yuanqiu nodded, and then looked at the floor. Because they were only going to sleep here for one night, and the temperature outside was not bad, they did not prepare a sleeping bag. They just lay on a blanket, and covered themselves with another blanket. There were exactly 2 blankets in this tent. What a coincidence. Su Miaomiao looked around and asked, how do you sleep? Under normal circumstances, 2 women would lie together, and 2 men would lie together, and there would be a distance of about 1 meter in the middle of the tent. But this was obviously not what Su Miaomiao wanted to see. Lu Yuanqiu touched Bai Qingxia's hand. Su Miaomiao and Zheng Yifeng both noticed this little action, but they all pretended not to see it. Well, I'm going to start acting. Bai Qingxia thought of this, stretched out her hands, and grabbed Lu Yuanqiu's arm. She faced Lu Yuanqiu and lowered her head and said, I'm scared. I want to lie down with Lu Yuanqiu. Among the teachers and classmates, it can be said that the really wonderful combination is the 2 people Bai Qingxia is most familiar with from high school to now, so she is not restrained at all at this moment. She is even a little excited. Little Swan is so good at acting. It's over. I'm into the play. The feeling of 2 little hands holding my arms makes Lu Yuanqiu's heart float in the clouds. No, I'm not the protagonist of this play. Be more restrained. Lu Yuanqiu hung 2 invisible weights on the corners of his mouth and said seriously, yes, Xia is afraid of ghosts. It will be better to stay with me. Oh, so? Then how about I get closer to you too? The 3 of us squeeze together. To be honest, I'm afraid even if I'm not close to others. It's dark outside, and I always feel cold around me. Su Miaomiao raised her finger and scratched her head, sitting diagonally on the blanket, saying embarrassedly. Lu Yuanqiu and Bai Qingxia glanced at Zheng Yifeng silently. Teacher, there is another person here. Chapter 430. Su Miaomiao turned her head in the direction Lu Yuanqiu pointed, and suddenly covered her mouth in surprise. She opened her eyes wide and found Zheng Yifeng. Ah, Zheng Yifeng, you are here too? Bai Qingxia pursed her lips and faced Lu Yuanqiu. Lu Yuanqiu saw that she was trying hard to hold back her laughter. Zheng Yifeng looked at her straight, then took a deep breath, raised his right hand to cover his cheek, and rubbed his eyes. He paused for a moment, put his hand down, and smiled and said, yes, teacher, I am here too. Su Miaomiao nodded politely. It's fine. Lu Yuanqiu tightly covered his mouth, and he and Bai Qingxia, who was facing him, held hands and swayed gently, as if they were playing air. Zheng Yifeng suddenly said, I heard that the teacher said he was not afraid during the day. Why is he suddenly afraid at night? Su Miaomiao smiled and explained, it's not dark during the day, it's dark at night. But there is a light in the tent. But it's dark outside, Zheng Yifeng. Most of people's fear comes from the rich imagination of their brains. Zheng Yifeng looked at the flawless smile on Su Miaomiao's raised face, and closed his mouth. He didn't want to scold Su Miaomiao, but the deliberate dominance just now made him a little speechless. Lu Yuanqiu was playing the you clap, I clap game with Bai Qingxia face to face. Seeing that they were silent, Lu Yuanqiu said, Then let's take a break. It's getting late. Teacher, since Zheng Yifeng is here, let him protect you. He paused, and said something serious that almost made him laugh. I can only protect one person in my life. Bai Qingxiao laughed, and quickly hid behind Lu Yuanqiu. Su Miaomiu seemed a little angry because Zheng Yifeng had just confronted her. But she still didn't say anything, and lay down obediently. Zheng Yifeng took a deep breath, and lay down beside her. The moment their arms touched, they suddenly felt strange and moved 10 centimeters in the opposite direction in sync, then tensed their bodies. This time, there was 20 centimeters between them. But strangely, the moment their bodies touched, Su Miaomiu's anger at being scolded and Zheng Yifeng's speechlessness at being bullied seemed to disappear in an instant, and they both forgave each other. On the contrary, this distance that allowed them to hug each other at the slightest turn left only an ambiguous atmosphere between them that made their heartbeats accelerate. They just lay together like this. It seemed that they had been tossing and turning until now just for this moment. But what about the next step? The two of them had empty minds, and Zheng Yifeng had even completely forgotten Away's 18 styles. Lu Yuanqiu mouthed to Bai Qingxiao with an exaggerated expression. Let's lie down too. They also lay down on the other side, and Lu Yuanqiu pulled the blanket over to cover him and Bai Qingxiao. He turned sideways with his back to Zheng Yifeng and the others, as if he was really curious about what was going on over there. Bai Qingxiao took the initiative to get close to Lu Yuanqiu, using his large body as a cover. She poked her head above the edge of the blanket, and pricked up her ears to listen to what was going on over there. The distance was very close. Lu Yuanqiu could smell her hair and feel her body temperature. He couldn't even lower his head, he could only lower his eyes. If he lowered his head, his chin would hit Bai Qingxiao's head. Her snow-white forehead and long eyelashes were in his sight. Bai Qingxiao seemed to have turned on her melon-eating attribute to the maximum at this moment. At this time, the girl looked up, and Lu Yuanqiu quickly moved his eyes away, pretending to listen carefully to the movement over there. But Bai Qingxiao moved away a little the next moment, probably realizing that she was a little too close to Lu Yuanqiu. Both of them were listening for noises, but the entire tent was in such silence that one could hear a pin drop. There was no noise for them to hear. Lu Yuanqiu looked at Bai Qingxiao's fluttering eyelashes, and thought she was probably disappointed. What noises did she want to hear? Why didn't I realize that Bai Qingxiao was still curious about this thing between men and women before? Su Miaomiu suddenly said, turn off the light. Bai Qingxiao's reaction in this regard seemed to have become instinctive, and she quickly reminded him, Lu Yuanqiu must sleep with some light on. Lu Yuanqiu was stunned for a moment, then smiled and nodded. Yes, it's just a little personal problem. Zheng Yifeng stood up. I turned down the light. Everyone seemed to be finding something to do. After lying down again, Zheng Yifeng's arm touched Su Miaomiu again, but this time the two of them got used to it a little, and they both tacitly didn't move away. The light in the tent was dim, and Lu Yuanqiu saw Bai Qingxiao's eyes emitting light. Under the blanket, the girl's knees were against his thighs, and Lu Yuanqiu didn't know where to put his hands. 5 minutes later. Why don't we chat? This time it was Su Miaomiu who spoke again. Zheng Yifeng was like a zombie, motionless. She couldn't sleep again. Except for reminding about the lights, Bai Qingxiao was a quiet person most of the time, so the task of chatting naturally fell on Lu Yuanqiu and Su Miaomiu. Lu Yuanqiu, Teacher Su, have you ever been on a blind date? Zheng Yifeng's eyes moved. Your question really hits the point. In fact, I often go on blind dates. Arranged by my parents. My parents are university professors. They are very picky about my other half, and even oppose my free love. Lu Yuanqiu paused and asked again, what kind of men do uncles and aunts choose for you? Su Miaomiu, older than me. Zheng Yifeng's sight was fixed on a direction in the dim light. Su Miaomiu's tone revealed a sense of loneliness, and Zheng Yifeng did not hear any lies in her words. More educated than me, more experienced than me, more capable than me, more mature than me, they especially care about the man's family background and personal cultivation. Alas, once they even introduced me to a university professor in his 40s, saying that he was just old, but he didn't look old. Lu Yuanqiu, it's funny, isn't it? Su Miaomiu started to laugh, and then sighed. I, your teacher, have been a good girl since I was young. I learned whatever my parents told me to learn, dance, musical instruments, painting. They controlled my life like this, but in the end, they thought I was immature, and wanted to arrange me for those mature old men. Lu Yuanqiu seemed to have a little idea of why Teacher Su was difficult to take that step. Her parents were highly educated and didn't care about money, but only cared about the other person's personal background and cultivation, but an 18-year-old child had no personal background and cultivation. In their eyes, Zhang Yifeng might just be a little yellow-haired kid with not even all his hair grown. Lu Yuanqiu, what are you going to do, Teacher Su? I don't know. Maybe I've been tamed by them. I can't do anything too rebellious. So sometimes I really envy you, Lu Yuanqiu. Teacher likes your fearless spirit. You live every day as if it were your last day, happy and wonderful. Chapter 431. Su Miaomiao mentioned that she was a good girl, which was not surprising to Lu Yuanqiu. Su Miaomiao always behaved gently, decently, and generously in school, like a lady from a scholarly family. Facts proved that she was indeed, just as he had guessed. Zhang Yifeng was so silent. Lu Yuanqiu turned his head, and glanced at the person lying in the dim light over there. Forget it, go to sleep. Su Miaomiao suddenly said. Lu Yuanqiu heard the sound of turning over, and saw that Zhang Yifeng still did not move. It was Su Miaomiao who turned over, and she had her back to Zhang Yifeng. Should this guy use the method I taught him? Teacher Su is in a bad mood now, so it's time to use it. After waiting for half an hour, there was still no movement, so Lu Yuanqiu gave up. He thought Zhang Yifeng had probably given up too. Lu Yuanqiu turned around and found that Bai Qingxia was still open-eyed. Lu Yuanqiu whispered to her, "Say you're going to the toilet." Bai Qingxia nodded gently and said in a neither light nor heavy voice, "Lu Yuanqiu, I want to go to the toilet." "Okay, I accompany you." The two stood up and looked at Zhang Yifeng at the same time. They found that Zhang Yifeng was still lying on his back, and Su Miaomiao was facing away from him. Their postures had not changed. "Lu Yuanqiu, what is a blind date like?" Walking outside, Bai Qingxia asked Lu Yuanqiu curiously. Lu Yuanqiu put his hands in his pockets. Blind date. It's a meeting between a man and a woman who have no emotional foundation. If they are a little bit courteous, they may see if they have common topics, and whether their values match before deciding to be together. If they just want to make do, they will see if the other party's hardware facilities meet their standards. After being together, they will slowly cultivate their feelings. If they are not suitable, they will just be passers-by from then on and move on to the next one. But how can feelings be cultivated in this way? Bai Qingxia quickly followed and asked like a curious baby. Lu Yuanqiu stopped to look at her. Then how do you think feelings should be cultivated? Bai Qingxia looked up at him and answered, feelings should be cultivated from childhood. If you like someone from childhood, you will like them when you grow up. You will always like someone, and then it will be natural for you to be together in the end. Lu Yuanqiu, but there is also love at first sight. It can happen in your 20s or 30s. I don't know. I don't believe in love at first sight. Isn't love at first sight just about appearance? Bai Qingxia pouted slightly after saying this. She didn't even realize that she seemed to unconsciously make cute expressions in front of Lu Yuanqiu. Lu Yuanqiu suddenly laughed. Oh, you said that. You are not a beauty association? What do you mean? That is, you don't care whether the other person looks good or not when you like him or her. It's okay if she is particularly ugly. Bai Qingxia was stunned after hearing this, then she tilted her head and smiled, revealing her right ear under her hair. Yes, I never define a person by his appearance. If he is kind-hearted and attractive to me, his appearance is not important. Isn't it the same for you? That's not the case. I won't bully an ugly girl, but I won't really like her, Lu Yuanqiu thought to himself, because I am a member of the Appearance Association. Wait, Lu Yuanqiu suddenly thought, is Bai Qingxia's aesthetic taste for men a little different from that of normal people? He asked. Then objectively speaking, who do you think is the best-looking boy you have ever seen, except your brother? Bai Qingxia thought for a moment and answered seriously, Zhang Yifeng. Ah. Lu Yuanqiu stretched out his voice with an empty heart. Although he asked this question to judge whether Bai Qingxia's aesthetic taste was normal, he also knew that Bai Qingxia's subjective and objective choices were made by someone, and he was definitely the only subjective choice. But he felt uncomfortable when Bai Qingxia said the names of other boys. Bai Qingxia blinked and looked up at him. But no matter how good-looking Zhang Yifeng is, I won't like him in that way. Lu Yuanqiu felt relieved now. He suddenly thought of something and pouted. I thought you're good-looking since junior high school. Bai Qingxia's smile froze, and she quickly lowered her head and walked towards the public toilet, walking very fast. Lu Yuanqiu caught up with her. No, are you really going to the toilet? Yeah. Lu Yuanqiu stood outside the public toilet and looked towards the women's toilet. He was waiting outside with his legs shaking. The wind was still a little cold at night. Lu Yuanqiu looked up at the sky again. Because it was sunny during the day, there were many stars at night, and they were obvious. However, the brightest one was the crescent moon. The light from the moon cast a layer of bright gray on the surrounding deep blue sky. Well, the moon itself does not shine, it is the sun that gives it light. At this time, there was a movement at the door, and Bai Qingxia came out and washed her hands under the faucet. Seeing her walking over while shaking her hands, with an indifferent look on her face, Lu Yuanqiu wanted to laugh. He immediately came forward and lifted the short sleeves of his coat and said to her, "Use my clothes to wipe your hands." Bai Qingxia didn't refuse this time. She rubbed Lu Yuanqiu's short sleeves with her two small hands vigorously. Even the flesh on her face showed the traces of force. "If you tease me like this again, I will never praise you again," she said dissatisfiedly. "What do you mean by praising me? Aren't you telling the truth?" Lu Yuanqiu asked. Bai Qingxia exhaled heavily, ignored him, and walked forward. Lu Yuanqiu chased after her, but she stopped suddenly after walking a few steps. She stared at a direction in the woods and was stunned. Lu Yuanqiu followed her gaze, and saw a tent swaying back and forth between the trees. Puff! Lu Yuanqiu turned around and shushed her, then pulled her hand and walked over there. Bai Qingxia blushed and shook her head, a little afraid to follow. Lu Yuanqiu pulled her a few more times before she followed obediently. The two tiptoed and gradually approached the tent. Listening to the voices coming from inside, Lu Yuanqiu tried to hold back a smile, and he seemed to have heard which two people in the class they were. They actually set up the tent so far from the campsite. If this were in a horror movie, they would definitely be the first to die. Bai Qingxia felt embarrassed when she heard the force of breaking free from her hand. She didn't want to listen anymore. Perhaps it was because their shadows were reflected on the tent. Suddenly, a loud shout came from inside. "Who?" Lu Yuanqiu quickly grabbed Bai Qingxia's hand and ran away quickly. The two of them ran to a high slope before stopping. Lu Yuanqiu laughed out loud, and Bai Qingxia blushed and smiled. This place seemed to be closer to the moon. Lu Yuanqiu looked at Bai Qingxia's hair blown by the wind. He suddenly raised his hand and pointed at the moon, saying, "Bai Qingxia, the moon is so bright." Bai Qingxia raised her head and looked. "Yeah." Suddenly, her eyes froze on Lu Yuanqiu's hand, and she saw a silver-white hairpin with a glittering light appearing on Lu Yuanqiu's hand. On the hairpin was a crescent moon pattern, and the moon was inlaid with diamonds, sparkling and brighter than the moon above her head.